Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and thanks for stopping by. Welcome to RGV Aerial Photography's deep dive into images he captured this week around the shipyard and launch site in Boca Chica, Texas. Our dedicated team will guide you through with the latest updates and theories at Starbase, Texas. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for future streams.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Zach Golden, and welcome to another episode of RGV Aerial Starbase Weekly episode. You normally have Mauricio doing the intros, but it looks like he is in the air right now, and it looks like he's about to land here soon. So we are going to be bringing in some aerial photos for you guys while the show is going. But we're going to start off with some ground images. So with that, looks like I am the captain now, and I want to introduce you guys to our other co-hosts. First, we have Indian Star. Indian Star, say hello.
Hello, Indian Star.
Thanks for being here with us. We have Grandpa Joe.
Hello, Indian Star. Hey, guys, it's
Hello,
Grandpa
Grandpa
Joe. Glad to be back here with you. Looking forward to another exciting week. And boy, what a week it has been. And with
I can't have to agree with that. We also have our driver for today, which will be Thomas.
Hello. So welcome again. This is going to be an exciting day. We have those, as Zach mentioned, flyover pictures will be fresh off the press. We don't even have them yet. I don't even know what we'll be getting. This will be quite exciting.
Yep,
so
live reactions all the way around.
So yeah, this is going to be awesome. Finding all of the juicy details here at Starbase. So the weekly reviews are amazing as far as the details we go into. Always, of course, though, our favorite Sunny. This is Mauricio's good boy. He's looking awesome again, as always.
Yeah, so it's always nice seeing how quick dogs grow. Actually, every time I see these, it kind of makes me jealous, and I have to get one for myself. But I don't know if I'm responsible enough for that yet.
I've seen you take care of a dog. You're good. This dog appears to be about 40 feet tall, though. I don't know if he would fit in your apartment.
Probably not.
He's related to Clifford, that's why.
There you go, his golden cousin.
Well, so to start things off today, we can just jump right into it and go to an area we normally don't go to first. but it's a good one to start off with. We have the BFC shed site. So this is an area we wanted to talk about a little bit. So first off, Grandpa Joe, do you want to start it off here?
Sure. So, and I'll start off by saying a large part of this is speculation. This could be used for several purposes, but the current thinking on the ground is that this particular facility is going to be for Starlink storage and loading. So, the primary mission of SpaceX is to make life multiplanetary, but the supporting mission of that is Starlink, which has a side effect of giving every person on Earth high speed internet, which is awesome. But these are very delicate, expensive satellites. They weigh a lot and they need clean room storage and loading. And once they have been entered into the BFC shed, they are then going to be loaded into the PEZ dispenser. So this is the PEZ dispenser loader here. So they, in theory, are going to be stored at the shed in an air-conditioned clean room environment. And then this white box, I'm sorry, Thomas, this white box is right about the same exact dimension as the shed. And we are speculating that the Starlinks will be stored there and then loaded into this hopper. And then this hopper will be mated somehow to the Starship. There's been debates. The current thinking is that this will happen somewhere possibly in the high bay, and it will go into the ship, which has a receiving PEZ dispenser, or as Elon Musk called it, it is very, very similar to an industrial pallet loader. And what it does is it takes a flat rectangular object like a Starlink or a pallet or a piece of PEZ, and it shoots it out the side, which is exactly what they need. Thomas, can you bring up a picture of Ship 24's opening bay for the PEZ? And this part right here that we're looking at, the white box, will mate up to the ship, and slowly it will mechanically attach, we believe, and using the slides that you see in the bottom right and the top right of the box. Those slides will insert into the ship, mate with the PEZ dispenser receiver, and it will be side loaded and then elevated, allowing the next one to come through.
Still looking over that image for you there,
right.
Grandpa Joe. But we'll get it here.
Sure
So, while he's looking for that, one thing I'm kind of thinking is, would this fit straight through that doorway?
Would this fit into that doorway? We have eyeball measured, and it looks really close.
Interesting.
So, yeah, but the thought occurs that, hey, if this is a clean room environment, they're going to have a rolling door for that. So, and it's going to have to be on a trailer or some way of moving it. So there's a couple of complications there, and I'm really interested to see, because it's darn close right now, and it might not fit after they add on all the accoutrement. But yeah, it's getting there pretty close.
Yeah, one thing I'm thinking is maybe they would drive it, excuse me, into the doorway, and then you would have that gantry crane inside that loads the Starlinks into that PEZ dispenser, or the PEZ dispenser loader. And I think that they may actually be potentially testing that right now, or already loading a few Starlinks in there inside of the first mushroom tent. So they actually moved this to that mushroom tent. We finally were able to pinpoint exactly where it was. I think it was Chief from the What About It channel who finally got a picture inside that tent and found it for us. And yeah, I mean, with not having that other structure complete yet, I could totally see there being a few Starlinks inside of tent 1 right now. And they do have a few gantry cranes in there that are pretty much the exact same as the one in the that new structure. So they could potentially be already adding them in there and function testing it.
Keith also caught a great picture, I believe, of the PEZ dispenser being loaded into Ship 25. And it's very possible they have a couple of Pathfinders another Pez dispenser could have been loaded into another Pathfinder, or they'll test with the Ship 25 here. So yeah, no, that's a great idea. Of course, they would be prototyping it. So while we're on this picture, real quick, so one of the key advantages of the Pez dispenser or pallet loader model is that it allows you to minimize the doorway of the pressurized area. This part of the ship is kept pressurized, and the larger the door, the more of a seal you have. And keeping it minimal like this allows them to much under-engineer the pressurization and the sealing of this doorway. The concept is that white pallet loader box would connect in here with the attached arms and would slide the Starlinks in, and they could have one on the ground like Zach said, and they are testing it now, and they'll put it into production very soon. But one question I wanted to ask you, Zach, one thing I've been wondering, what are they doing with Ship 24? Because I don't think any of us saw a Pez dispenser going in there. Do you think they snuck one in undercover, or do you think they built one in from the inside?
Wait, isn't Ship 24 the one that
Has it?
Yeah, it does have it. We saw
has
it go in.
Yeah, it's in the high bay. It was in the bay.
So it was
The
months
the
ago. It was
door or the Pez dispenser?
on Ship
The Pez
24.
dispenser door.
Just make sure we're on ship. We're talking about this Ship 24,
Yep.
which has the door. It does have a Pez dispenser mechanism inside of it. It is just like the one that they put in on Ship 25. Ship 25, though, had more of the parts already assembled. So they have the hydraulic lifts for the system, the clamps already there. We can already identify all of the parts. So as Chief from What About It, he got a great ground shot of that particular mechanism and all of those good details of how it works. So basically, the clamps will clamp onto the Starlink, lift it up at least just above the next Starlink set that will come in, and then it will place it down on top of those Starlinks, and then it will repeat that process. And in fact, the way that it looks to be working, sorry, I keep going to the wrong one, is that the loader, this is basically the Pez loader. It's like a Pez dispenser as well. It's the same type of mechanism. So they're all pallet loaders just loading it into each other. So as far as the images, I think we have the permission to use Chief's images here. Does that sound right to you guys?
Yeah, we should be
Go
fine.
ahead.
Awesome. Okay.
If you guys haven't followed Chief on Twitter, make sure you do that. His Twitter handle is Cosmical Chief. He's a photographer for Felix in the What About It channel, down there pretty much every day. So we actually do communicate with him pretty frequently, trying to make sure that he doesn't miss stuff. You know, whoever is outside there that day, we always try and help them get the good stuff, you know. So team space all the way, and Chief definitely does a really good job of capturing some really great stuff like this right here.
So
This was the first time I had seen the fully assembled Pez dispenser. I hadn't seen it inside of Ship 24, but I'm glad to hear they were able to slide it in and fix it up and add the rest of the components later.
Yeah, so
they. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, I was going to say there's 3 of them.
You owe me a pop.
Yeah, so there's 3 of them. There was one in the there's 2 of them. They have the door mechanism installed into the Pathfinder ring section, and then Ship 24 got both obviously the door and the actual Pez dispenser, and same thing with 25.
So starting off real quick, these are the hydraulic rams right there they could even be pneumatic, but basically they drive the whole system up and down for this part right there. So you can see that in a better photo right here is that particular mechanism it drives it up and down. So these right here on the left and right side, you can see them pretty well. And even on this one, even better, is that these mechanisms here clamp onto the Starlink on all 4 points. And actually there's technically would be 2 Starlinks here. So there's somehow going to be a way of connecting the 2 Starlinks together as a rigid body. at least when it goes through and loads and unloads, and that's going to be an interesting process. But the Starlinks will be grabbed by these particular parts, and it will be raising up and down using this guy. So the tray right here, this is the back end, and this is the front end, I believe. Let me go back and double check that. It's yes, this is the back end, because the way that they set it in, you can see it was all faced away from this direction. So it was faced kind of towards the tent was the front side. So I think this is the article that they were technically loading it into, would be ship 25's section here. So this is an older flyover picture from, I think it was last week or the week before. But you can see that they've already got the area over here ready for the Pez dispenser. I think that's actually a reflection right here, but they have the holes ready to be cut out, and they kind of faced it away from public eyes.
Yep, they're always trying to cover up stuff, partially because it's so darn hot out there in the Texas heat.
Yeah. So this part right here, this is the part that pulls down on the Starlinks. It puts tension on them while it's being loaded and goes really into space. You want that tension here so that the Starlinks aren't just floating around. Hugh's got a great picture here, so that it kind of just demonstrates the part, so that they come in from the left, slides to the right for the Starlinks, and then it raises up on these 4 points. And then this part up here, it actually goes up further. This part will keep them pressed down. And the number of Starlinks that this seems to hold isn't the same number that we'd be looking at, I believe, in the full article version. This is still very much preliminary test Starlink systems.
Yeah, but rising the hydraulic presses and the arms on the side for the rails, that should be fairly trivial compared to the mechanism itself.
Yeah, this is all super, it works on the ground probably. It's just the space question. It won't be answered until you actually try it, and they'll probably do it with just a few Starlinks, or even fake Starlinks, just steel plates if they have to.
I would like to quickly throw out my favorite Starlink dispensing concept, and that is open up a big bay, spin the vehicle, and let them all just fly out, just like they do pretty much with the Falcon 9. They take off the guiding rails, spin it, and let them fly out, and then they use their own individual thrusters to get to their correct altitude.
Yeah, the only thing you have to do is release the tension rod on that one, and open up the cone or other part. So Starlink version 1, they don't have a cone, but Starship will, and you want to keep that cone because it's your heat ablative or heat shield as well as everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be very tough to do in this setup. But the space shuttle had a very wide bay where it opened up on two sides, two hinges, and they managed to do that successfully. That was never a point of failure. So that is kind of a solved problem as well if they choose to go that route.
But yeah, so again, this would be the idea here, was like the clean room environment. One thing we noticed a lot of here is all of the air handling units. So it looks like they're trying to actually also even section it off. There's air handling units to the right over here you can barely see that are separate from the rest of these. And it's just a very interesting setup for basically SpaceX and Starbase in general. Like, we haven't seen a lot of conduit or air handling units like this. It's always been perforated from the outside in. So what we think they're going to do is they're going to segment off the different sections. So that's not the right one. Trying to find where I put it. Oh, didn't bring it in. So there is this same building from, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. So this will be actually on the 16th, so last week. So they'll probably segment them off. So you'll bring in the Starlinks on this side, the Pez dispenser on this side, and have two basically dirty versions of the clean rooms, but then they connect together into a full clean room, and that gantry crane right there slides back and forth, grabbing the Starlinks, putting them into the Pez loader, and then bringing it out to the Starship and loading it from there, as you mentioned.
I'm really waiting for egg on all of our faces as they just turn it into a crane repair area.
Yeah. I know my friend Chucky's been pushing that idea. It's like, yeah, they brought a crane in the other day. It must be for cranes. It's like, they've been building this thing 24/7. So they're really pushing to have this built as soon as possible. So it doesn't explain why you need a crane building or a machine shop so dang quick.
Real quick, just in general, they have been accelerating, it feels like, immensely in the last few weeks. They got the FAA approval, Booster 7's back out, 24 is well into production. You can feel it in the air. They know they're doing some heavy duty work, and they are rushing towards a goal. And if they're putting a lot of emphasis on this building, you can be sure it's part of the progress.
Yeah, it is very rapid. It is exciting and palpable now again to see all of the movement at Starbase. So
Now,
this is
one
just
thing, did y'all see what Dave mentioned about this building? Now, Dave is out there, right? So he commented that this building is looking more and more like just an SPMT service garage.
yeah, that's what Dave is thinking as well. So there's always going to be egg on
That's
somebody's
who I've-
face when it comes to these.
Dave is so often right. It's quite annoying, but we'll see this time, Dave.
He's got about 5%
mentioned-
he's wrong on. This might be one of those.
He says that the AC is only cooling the bottom half of the building. That's what's giving him that idea.
Yeah, that's a good point, is that the air handling units themselves, they need to be up higher. So every clean room environment anybody's ever really looked at, it's always up higher. So you want to be able to take the cool air, bring it down, and you have to have a temperature controlled environment where it's like 30 degrees C's at some percentage humidity, and you want to basically make that as sterile and controlled as possible. So it doesn't quite help that this air handling unit is so low to the ground. But it does look like they might be putting up a wall here as well. Just the way that they have the duct work and everything else, it just is kind of odd. But then again, it might just be for a machine shop, and we get to eat some eggs and have some eggs on our face at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and there's plenty of stuff to store in a temperature controlled area. Raptors, battery packs, they last much longer if they're temperature controlled. So plenty of options here.
Yeah. So do I move on to the next site here?
Yeah, please.
Let's head up to Sanchez. Seems to be one of our favorites to start off.
And before we go too much further, hey, everybody, if you haven't already, please like the video. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. And if anyone would like to donate to help keep Mauricio in the air, please feel free to donate through PayPal, YouTube chat, Patreon, or my favorite, just slip Mauricio 20 every time you see him.
Yeah, and just to expand on that a little bit, we still are in the process of working to get Mauricio an upgraded camera. So keep that in mind as well. That's what donations are currently going towards, is basically helping us improve the content even more by, bumping those megapixels up to, what is it, 60, I believe?
61 or
61. So, we're really hoping for a major jump in quality, especially with the aerials, considering we're up at 10,000 feet and potentially even higher in the future. We don't really know that yet. So yeah, you guys, your support goes a long way in helping us do that. So
yeah, and you guys have been great. How far along are we? Are we halfway there yet?
Mauricio would have to let us know. I'm not 100% certain.
Yeah, but we're making really good progress towards getting that new camera. So thank you, everybody who's contributed. Y'all have been wonderful.
And just one more update. It looks like Mauricio landed. I can't really tell how. Oh, yeah, he just landed. So I would expect that he'll probably be joining us here within the next 45 minutes to an hour-ish. And then we will definitely be, as Thomas mentioned, throwing in some hot off the press aerial photos once he arrives.
Ooh, look at that. We already have 55 Chevy guy Steve. Came in with that $20 donation, says new cam fund, and hi to Sunny. Thank you, Chevy.
Steve.
Chevy guy. So, Grandpa Joe, do you want to take it off and just do a bit of recap real quick on Sanchez while we look for anything new?
Sure, absolutely. Yep, we have Booster 5, and then we have ships 20, 21, and 22, and then we have a water storage tank, I believe used to be test tank number 2, and then we have a liquid natural gas cleaner vessel right here that'll probably remain unused. Other than that, no, I'm seeing some old support equipment and nothing new to me.
Yeah, the one thing I always look for is right here, and I can't see it, so I don't know if these are active, but I assume that the methane electric generators are in full full power mode. They still haven't hooked up to Magic Valley yet, it seems, and it's just one of those things to look for. So that's 2.1. It's kind of old, but it's good to see that it hasn't changed much there. And
Still unused.
And my favorite, always the ladder.
That was great. Back in the day, Thomas, I always loved to find ladders. As soon as I arrived at Starbase my first time, I dedicatedly took pictures of every ladder and sent them to Thomas live.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. But it was a joke because I went through, was looking at Mauricio's flyover pictures, and I counted like 60 ladders in one picture. And I'm like, I never see them use these, but they have more ladders than they know what to do with. But what were you saying, Annie, sir?
I was going to ask GPJ, was that for SN8 that he sent you all the photos?
Yes. SN8 was my first trip down to Starbase, and God, what a wonderful time. That was in December of 2020, and we got to watch a launch with the Lab Padre crew. And I met Mauricio back then, and neither of us knew who each other were. So I don't think we've met since we've talked.
But Thomas, you missed out because then Dragon joined the stream. Well, she wasn't on stream, but she joined the chat, and she was able to. Grandpa Joe was able to say hello to her.
He was sitting right next to Zen Dragons, and that was,
I know, but
yeah, she's awesome. I've only talked to her like once, so she's sorely missed.
Yeah, she was an original YouTube chatter, and we all love her. She was hyperventilating while we were watching for venting on the ship. So we called it Zenting, and we could tell how close we were to launch by how hyperventilated she was. Good times.
And then we also have a couple of super chats that we want to thank Yazada for. Yazada did one of them. He donated $20 saying, "Slipping Sunny at 20. Give me some of it, Mauricio." What exactly do you want, Yazada? You're going to get flyover pictures for sure. Samsung 084 also donated $5, says it ain't much, but it's honest work. Put this towards the new cam and Sunny Street Fund. Samsung 0804, we appreciate it so much. Every little bit helps, and we thank you for your donation.
Wow, look at that. You should just keep letting those donations pile on like the kibble and bits that Sunny's getting here, because, wow, there's a pile of, this is not kibble and bits, but similar. That is huge.
Gravel?
Yeah, it's gravel. I mean, this is just huge. What do they need all this gravel for?
That, my friend, is a $10 million question.
I suppose they're going to be putting.
Do you have thoughts?
Something over here.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, it seems like that pile just keeps getting larger and larger, and it's really hard to make judgments about that one without seeing it from the air, so we can see like what they have and haven't done since last time. But yeah, it's just definitely an endless amount of gravel that keeps getting brought over there. I kind of watch it on the Raptor Roost camera pretty much every day. I'm like, what? How long are these guys going to keep coming in here? But
they have been shipping them in loads. Thomas, do you have thoughts about it?
I think that they're going to probably be building a facility over here for all of their payload management. So just like that BFC shed site where we're looking at maybe Starlink and a clean room, and then it just gets converted over just a regular machine shop, within a year or so, or whatever they're going to do here, because this, I think, will be their site for all of their payloads. So they're going to go through and put regular satellites in a clean room environment into the Starship. That's, I think, what they were mentioning directly in the PEA, was that Sanchez would be that site. So grabbing a picture from last week here. So it's basically, that is the pile of gravel right there. And this would be the site that it looks like they're ready to build some sort of building here, or getting ready to put the foundations down for it. There's quite a pile of dirt here. I just don't know exactly how they're planning on doing everything. And if it turns out right, it would basically be, you'd have your Starships come out here, make a left turn onto Highway 4, and then a right turn onto Remedios, and either this direction or go up to here and then make its way into this site, or this part of the site, unless they can get this area ready for Starships, and they'd have to widen that road. But that's my only thought, is that it could be for future not Starlink, but satellite processing
Thomas,
facility.
while you're in this view, does the topic that you're talking about, it just reminded me of a letter, I think it was on Twitter that I saw earlier this week about SpaceX trying to petition the county or something, like to abandon certain roads. So do you know much about that?
Yeah, so it looks like they're trying to,
looking at as one of them, right?
Yeah, they're trying to get the segments in here. So this is owned by private owners. I don't believe SpaceX yet has any sort of lease on this property or sublease of the property. So I know that, for instance, this segment right in here was, or maybe it's up here, I can never remember which side it was. I was basically on the property back when SN15 just flew. And it's still technically owned by the current property owner, but it's basically being subleased to SpaceX. And it's one of those things where it's a really good deal for the landowner, because they just get paid for land that they own and they don't do anything with it. So SpaceX makes all of the improvements upon the land, and the landowner receives all the benefits of that agreement. So the same thing might be going on here. I just don't know. It's one of those things where it's all typically private matters, and you don't find out for most of those documents until much later. So it looks like Mauricio is in the live chat right now. What is he saying there?
Let's see. Just landed and got some fresh images for us.
Oh, nice. Those pies are going to be piping hot. Another road that that they're probably going to be abandoning is this section right here. So the abandonment process is basically that the county no longer maintains or does anything with the road itself. They don't own it. So SpaceX would basically take over the ownership of the road and maintenance of it. But then they would also basically block it off. So they put like they have right here at the parking lot, just a little guard shack, or even just actually that's not even a guard shack, just a turnpike, or it's just a pike. Sorry, it's just a barrier to prevent people from automatically going in. So you have to actually check yourself in and out in order to get into this parking lot from these points. But yeah, I do expect to see like this road, and then parts of this road over here abandoned as well. Last time they abandoned it was this section in here where the Star Factory's at.
Okay, so it's not going to stop us from being able to drive up to the Rocket Garden and take close-ups?
Not unless they get to a sublease of this property as well. And then that would basically put it into SpaceX's hands. So they would be able to say, well, we own all of the land up until this point. So you'd be able to drive up to here, and that would be about it. I do love all the pictures of the tourist photos from Twitter. I grab every single one just because it's like, this is awesome to see everybody's just ecstatic expressions next to the starships and like how crazy this is.
Yeah, I don't think that they would lose that. If anything, I would hope that they would bring the rocket garden closer to the road so that we don't have to go so far onto the property to take pictures with it, because it is one of a kind. And they know that. And they have the same thing in Hawthorne with the Falcon 9. And it's a showpiece, but it's also something that everyone can take pictures from, literally from your car, because it's right on the corner. I would hope that they did the same thing with this.
Yeah, this property right here, it still says for sale, and obviously it looks like they're not selling to SpaceX or quite yet. SpaceX does look like they want to buy it, showing how they have built around the property on both sides, on the south and west side here. So one thing is that they could put the rocket garden right here if they ever do buy that property. That would be amazing. Of course, you'd have to put like 4 to 6 rockets right in this spot, or maybe right in here or something. But I would love that. So let's move on to some more Sanchez picks. We've been looking at a new SpaceX, what is that called? Lift that's coming out of Germany. It's a windmill services lift like this. They purchased one, and we're just waiting to see that one appear either here or at Florida. And that's been forever, but it feels like this test article was already set to the pad, but this is 2.1, I believe. It's looking a bit older. Oh, it's actually booster 6. I'm sorry. 2.1 is kind of gone now. Is that it right there? No, that's what is this? I have to look at that. That's in 16's aft section.
That's in 16. You can see it the way they cut it up top.
What is it doing over here?
That's what I said when I first saw it. Like, it's a weird place for it. It's like they stopped scrapping it halfway through, and maybe just got it out of the way. Yeah, I'm not really sure on that one. That's half scrapped Starship over there.
Yeah, I guess they want to study something. Maybe they're like, oh, we need to put together some coupons and test the metallurgy of the welds or something like that. And
there's some closer images of it as well, I think.
Here we go. Yeah, that's so weird. It's like missing the flaps, but it's got the rest of this, and it's just so jagged up on top.
See, I feel like this is the new scrapyard.
Oh, don't say that. I want to see these ships sitting there forever. I mean,
no, not the rocket garden part. The okay. The place where all those tank sections are. They're a good 50 to 100 meters away from the actual ships. So it's kind of like its own little area over there. It really, at this point, kind of looks like a scrapyard.
So MaxQ has a comment for us here asking about the possible exposure testing of various materials on the bottom of Ship 22 on the leeward side. So I'm looking at that now. I see that, and I just never understand what this is. So he believes it's exposure testing to different materials. That's an interesting idea.
Do we have closer images of that?
Let me check here.
He has a clear image of it. Yeah, there's another one that shows it like that as well.
That is a very interesting. If this is exposure testing to the stainless steel, this is a very interesting way to do it.
And so,
could they be like seals of some sort? Yeah.
What do you mean by exposure testing?
Well, that's what the question is that MaxQ has asked here.
It would be like against the elements, right? Different types of whatever these are. He says, seeing how they hold up over time just sitting there, so exposed to the weather.
I wonder if it's maybe different types of coats of basically either a paint or some sort of varnish that you would be able to put onto the Starship itself.
Or if they have windows, maybe it's to seal the windows.
But yeah, it looks quite thick. You can see each one of these, there is definitely some thickness to the material behind it. But yeah, that's an interesting point. I've been looking at that before, and I was thinking it was kind of just like a piece of paper from the distance, but I didn't really see the zoomed in shots like this. That is wondrous to understand, like the metallurgy of what they are trying to understand. Is this, let's say, lunar and Mars and some other, let's say, salty sea air from Earth and a couple of other things they're trying to expose to it to, or is it just the atmosphere here? They're trying to say, well, Boca Chica, which one is going to work out the best? That's
Do you
just a
think it has
great
any
question.
relevance to the fact of where they're placed between those stringers? Or between those, are those, yeah, stringers? No?
Well, they're all the same about width, almost. This one's wider than
Right,
these.
right. So I'm just talking about the placement of where they are.
Yeah, this one, it's directly almost aligned on the left, but it's not on the right. This one's just in the middle, kind of, and then on the left, it's. I don't know. I think somebody just kind of eyeballed it using the stringers because it doesn't quite match up, especially on this one. And then this one as well. It just looks like they use the stringers as kind of a guide, not a absolute has to have the stringers back there guiding it.
Got it.
What is that we've got here? Ooh, that is a lot of scaffold material. Is this coming or going?
That could be all the scaffold, or I think they still have a lot more scaffolding that they need to set up on top of the Mega Bay. So it could be for that if they don't have space for it in the production site while they're disassembling that crane. I mean, they should have a lot of space now that it's mostly gone, but
Yeah, so let's see here. Last week there was a little bit of scaffolding in this area. You can see this is the ring in the background. Same ring, but yeah, you can't really see this. So they've been bringing this in. So either this is going to go for additional work on high bay, or some of their operations have wrapped up. We know that they are disassembling Bucky. It's pretty much 90% gone now. I haven't checked this morning. It could be 100% gone. So yeah, they could be wrapping up on that part of the project with high bay, and this is either leaving or this is arriving. And the way that this is all stacked, it looks pretty neat. So I almost expect that these will be arriving, not leaving. So this would be for the windows and that kind of stuff for high bay. So is there anything else we want to go over on Sanchez, or do you want to skip right to high bay? Or I'm sorry, Mega Bay. I've
Let's
been
go
saying
to
it wrong.
Mega Bay.
All right.
yeah, unless we have those pole cam images, if any of those are from inside the Sanchez site.
Oh, they are. We'll go right back to the Sanchez site after this one image.
Okay.
So yeah, they've got a lot of scaffolding here. I think this is arriving scaffolding, as you mentioned, for this area.
Yeah, so they have to fill in. They'll need it on the front side too. So I would say they're a little over halfway done with adding scaffolding for the windows to do the windows. But yeah, they still got half of that side, it looks like, and the entire front side to do.
Yeah, there's just so much glass as well that they're going to have to be putting in. I'm with Philakit on the thought that these will be thin strips. We might have strips that are like this that will be maybe about that size for each of the window panes. So you just have window pane, window pane, window pane, and this will be an observatory area as well as potentially office or the new high bar, whatever you want to do with it. Okay, let's go back to the pole cam pictures. So these are amazing pictures, as always, from Mauricio. So he has the pole cam. It's the poor man's plane, but he has got both the plane and the pole cam. So we've always got really great shots from Mauricio here. Actually, it'd be poor man's drone, not even a plane.
Yeah, for sure.
But starting off, do you want to take it off here? We're looking at on the bottom of this image here.
Yeah, so looks like we saw these actually get delivered last week. They took them to the launch site. These are basically the same panels that are used for the umbrella around around the launch mount. So it's actually kind of weird that they're here because they don't really fit on the bottom side of the launch mount. So it kind of seems like they're extras. Um, I'm almost wondering if they're supposed to go to Florida instead of arriving here. But yeah, that's a tough one.
So you think they came to the wrong location?
I do.
Well, it could be
Interesting.
that they have arrived here because they were built locally, but they may still go to Florida. One other theory I've had was that they are for replacements. They expect that they will have to replace some of the awnings. That's what I like to call these as awnings. they're not fabric like a regular awning, but steel, very thick steel. I mean, look at this. This is like 2 inches thick. Compare it to some of this square tubing that's like 4 inches, maybe. So yeah, that's pretty thick stuff. But yeah, as a backup for replacements, in fact, we actually have had 2 replaced already on the launch table. So Max Q, he's great at finding this stuff. He was watching during the night on the cams and spotted 2 of those got replaced just overnight. We didn't even notice.
Was that last night?
This would be, I think, 2 nights ago.
Okay.
So Max Q could give the direct answer on that one. Oh, he says
He
at
said
least
at
3
least
nights,
3 nights ago, maybe 4.
maybe 4. Yeah.
The time it all blends together. We understand.
We're looking at Starship all day in and day out, and we can't remember which day it was we saw something, but
What?
we remember what we saw and where we saw it.
And they go
So
from not doing anything to all of a sudden doing everything. I mean, in one day they did 2 different things with 2 different towers in 2 different locations, and both of them major.
yeah, so there's some more awning pieces right here. So you've got this one right here. There's actually 2 in the same line right here. So you've got a shadow that's not appearing, but it basically is this area right here. That's one awning. But it looks like it's all one piece, but it's not. So that when I first saw it, I was like, wait, what? This is different. Oh, wait, no, it's not. It's just barely imperceptible on this one. You can see there's almost a line here. I can zoom in a little
They
bit
look
more.
like church benches upside down. Pews.
I wonder how you would sit on these ones, honestly, if this is the
They're upside
bottom.
down. You gotta flip them over.
Yeah. If this is the bottom right here, this would have to be the top right here. So your legs go wrapped around this spot. Church of the Holy Rocket. Yeah, I don't know.
I
That one
mean,
that one might burn a little bit.
yeah.
Wow, there's so much good stuff in here as always on the pole cam because you don't normally get to see things like this. So you've got stack after stack of load spreaders. I think these are the ones for the tank shells. Is that right? Does that sound right?
Yeah, so those are for the cryo shells. Those are the stands that they constructed them on. I think they're a little bit further north. Yeah, right there at the top.
Yeah, that's that.
Hello, everybody. Sorry to interrupt. This is Mauricio.
Mauricio!
Hello,
Your
welcome.
favorite
You are-
flyover guy is here.
Yes, can you guys hear me well or not?
Sound great.
Yes.
I'm actually in my truck. We just landed a little while ago, and I just got some fresh images for y'all. So you can check the production chat. I dropped 2 of the images. Since we're in Sanchez, I might as well just start posting those images there.
Yeah, let's. Can you send them to the live comms instead?
The live comms. Let me see.
Just one
Sure.
level down.
Yeah, I got the last 2 from production here. So I'll go ahead and bring
Ooh,
those
not
in.
too bad either. Not too cloudy, eh, Mauricio?
It was actually a pretty good day to fly today.
Yeah.
Pretty surprised they cooperated, and just before we get a little bit ahead of ourselves here, I just wanted to say a couple of thanks here to a couple of people that sent PayPal donations. From Paul, Angel, animal rescue, $10, 10 US dollars. It's for the camera. So thank you very much for that. And then we have Thomas Bolden. He sent $200. So thank you very much for that. Can't really say how much I appreciate this. Just because of the issues I've been having with this camera lately. And again, we had the same issue today where we were flying, but thankfully we were able to push through and get the images out for you all. So hopefully with that new camera, we get some higher resolution images, and I can't thank everybody enough for the donations and the support that comes our way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mauricio. I mean, this is amazing that you're able to get these images pretty much to us right after you land. You're still at the airport, right?
Yeah, I'm still at the airport. I'm still at the airport parking lot, and I'm actually editing the rest of the images. So yeah, just start going through the images, and um, I'll start sending more images your way here shortly. So just stay tuned. There's some pretty amazing images of the launch site. That booster on the OLM, it looks. I had some pretty nice shots of that. So just stay tuned for that.
Wow.
Can you see straight down it when you were flying over?
Well, you know what? I was actually trying to get that perfect shot. I'm not sure if I did. I think I'm almost got it. That straight down shot. And well,
Nice.
you'll be the judge of it. I think it was a little bit
Well,
off, but it's still pretty cool.
You got to
if
watch
it's like
out.
any of
This
your other ones, it'll be dead on perfect.
this is so fresh off the hot press that the ink is a bit runny and it's quite hot, so I have to keep my hands off this one for a little bit. Oh wow, I'm can't wait to get to the launch site as well. Already this is just amazing to see all of the new updates to the site. We're looking at the ground shots and it's like there's already a couple of things that have moved around, like obviously cranes and other vehicles. But I'm just trying to identify some more as we're going. And can I actually go grab the?
While you do that, the lovely Jessica is in our chat. Jessica Kirsch is with us, gents. Hi,
Nice,
Jess.
welcome.
GB,
Thomas,
is
are
that
you able
what
to
you were
go
gonna
back to
say?
the aerial? Are we able to zoom in on this one?
Yeah, so the new one. Where would you like zoomed in on here?
Actually, let's go to the. Actually, let's compare those gravel piles and see if it's actually getting larger or not from last time, or if we're just imagining that.
Okay, so here's last week. Kind of size these up here.
About the same. Okay, so it's probably not growing.
Actually, it's shrinking.
Yeah.
I think it's shrinking because it's right over here is where some of that gravel has just been placed. You can see that they were starting to get that gravel from over here. So you can see that excavator is putting the gravel here. And they did maybe 2 layers of it. But I'm not sure where the rest of it's all going, actually. So there's a pile here. That same pile is there last week. Sorry, that's... I could flip it around and upside down, but then everything looks like it literally is hanging off the earth. It's a really weird effect. But yeah, I don't see anywhere else that is a new pile of gravel, unless it's something down at the bottom.
I think it's all up there. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they really making slow progress on that area, but that I guess it's not like a high priority. But I also noticed some other stuff towards the bottom. Maybe it's actually the other image that he
that's the newest.
Before you go away from this, did you also notice those SPMTs that Jax did under Booster 5?
Yeah,
I did not. Thank you. There's one right here, and there's the other just sitting there to pick up Booster 5. Oh my gosh, we're about to see a move of Booster 5 here.
Oh shoot. This will be later in the flyover to see if they were in the process of putting the second one in.
Might need to check La Padre's cams just to see if it moved on us.
Mauricio, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say that the audience is going to have to excuse us because there's a lot of stuff that actually popped up. A lot of if you check the latest image that I just posted, you might actually see something pretty interesting. Let's see if we can catch that. Oh, sorry, I haven't
Ooh, I
posted
love
it.
a challenge.
Let me get to the next shots here because I do have more shots that as they're coming in, I'd like to probably go through those as well. But very fresh. We'll have to analyze as we're going here. Okay, so these look about the same. This is kind of their junk area, but they do have a nice cleared out path. I think they had that last time.
Yeah,
Have
so
to
in the
just go
middle of
back.
that image, or sorry, I think it's
Yeah, so that was Stame. Okay.
so the that mystery like paneling that we saw. It looks like they've like kind of assembled that a little bit at the right side. Glad I stuck to my guns on that one. I don't think that's for the launch mount. It's kind of looking. Oh wait,
So which structure are we talking about here? I'm
the big shiny one in the middle, or the
this?
up more.
It's gonna be right up the. There you go.
Massive.
That's what I was talking about as well.
That is all sorts of big and shiny.
And so,
Wow.
what do you think it is, GB?
Actually, I mean, it is those holes do look like they could go between four of the legs, and the sixth ones would be on the top and bottom. But
Something like that.
yeah, that's
Would there be that many?
well.
And would they match up with the ones we saw last week?
Well, is this a
Where,
new
I think it
work
was last week.
platform? Is this potentially a new work platform for the booster?
See, if it was, it would be hard to get it under the table if it's fully assembled. Like, I don't know if maybe it like folds down or folds up, and then whoa.
Well, the legs themselves are wider at the base than they are at the top, so this should be able to get in underneath as long as you're able to lift it. So maybe they plan on putting this on top of the Raptor lift stand and making a newer version, which gets the entire floor space.
That
Now,
is
Rob Shaw,
definitely a possibility.
Rob
I would
Shaw
say
from
that
the chat is asking if it's mystery box size. So maybe part of the mystery box?
no, definitely not. It's the mystery box stuff is built over by where the mystery box is built. they usually don't spread stuff out too much. So like the unique things are made in unique in their own areas. So for this one, I would say it's definitely unrelated. It kind of, I think Thomas may be on the right path there. I'm wondering if it has hinges on it though. If you could zoom back in.
Well, I'm just going to point this out real quick if this tool ever works for me right, and I hope it does. So here's a 9-meter diameter, just as a quick, 9 meter, and that is way bigger than 9 meters, so way bigger than a Starship. So it would not be for the mystery box. The mystery box at its widest goes from the 9-meter diameter to from the widest part, or just under that. So this is much larger.
So yeah, if you zoom in on it a little bit, it looks like it's hard to tell. I'm wondering if maybe it has hinges on it that allow the sides of it to fold up. Because, like I said, I mean, if it oh, you're moving around a lot.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to really zoom in, get those pixel perfect zooms here. Sorry about that.
You're fine. If it was to go underneath the launch mount or be part of that Raptor work stand, then the sides of it would have to fold into the middle in order for it to get underneath the launch mount. So, I mean, it's hard to tell whether or not that's like if they're at an angle right now. Oh, I wonder if the pole cam probably didn't see that.
Well, let me go back
That's
to
a
the
good
pictures here.
question.
I've got them. So it would be to the right over here. Oh, we wouldn't be able to see it because the horizon of the shipping container, we're about in the middle of the frame. So we would not see it unless they decided to put it above that, which it looks like on this image that it's on the pipe stands. So you can see like a pipe stand here, 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 and here. So it's got multiple places, and I think these are 6-foot stainless steel sheets. You can see that they've got the same width of a stainless steel. It's shiny, just like stainless steel. Might not be, but that's what I think it is. And it's a 9 meter diameter over here, and this is larger than that by quite a bit. So I've got what?
So Max Q suggesting that the middle panel of the new structure looks to possibly be the same size as the top of that framework next to it. So he's saying the framework that's been sitting there for a while. So just to the right, I believe. Yeah. Kind of looks like the big chair that we see in that building. I know it's not a chair, but it looks like Lily Tomlin's chair.
Let's just do a quick size comparison. The eyeballs say yes, and the size says it's bigger than that. So that works. It could fit on top of it if you wanted to do something there. Oh, that is a very interesting shape, especially with the cutouts. So, I mean, it looks like it's basically 7 in length, which would be 42 feet exactly if these are the 6-foot panels of stainless steel sheets. So yeah, very, very
so many mysteries. I think we're just going to have to keep our eye on this one. Everybody has some good ideas and some good thoughts. We could be here for days.
Yeah,
not that I'm
typically will
complaining.
be.
And time is our enemy in this realm for now. We also have lots of super chats if you want to go through that. If you don't mind me going through them real fast just to say thank you.
Please do.
So $4.99 from Craig Carpenter. $20 from Rocket Profit, who's matching. We also have five Australian dollars from Pete. I think that's Australian dollars. I hope so. US dollars, 5 from Steamboat. And then we have a $20 donation from Alaska Space for the camera. Boy, you guys are amazing. John Dopker, $20. Get that camera and give Sunny a snuggle for me. Dude, get in line. You got to bring Sunny in one of these days. We all need to meet. That'd be amazing. Then we can meet Sunny. And that's it for so far. Thank you guys so much. Thomas, back to you.
I wish I could bring my Jackson down to meet Sunny. They basically are like from the same litter, but just a couple of months apart. They look so much alike. It's amazing. And obligatory picture of Sunny.
Not obligatory. Well, obligatory, but definitely wanted.
Oh yes, definitely. I just have to have the Sunny picture there.
So it looks like if I was just counting the all the panels for the launch mount, or sorry, the umbrella panels, which are right there in that image where your mount. Oh, sorry. Kind of, yeah, right there where you're.
Yeah, sorry. Let me mark these real quick. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
There's
5,
eight of them.
6, 7. Where's the 8th? Oh, right here.
Yeah, and then. So I'm just looking at them a little closer to see if there's other smaller ones over there that might be part of that as well too. There's like 2 small little pieces above that first group.
And real fast, my apologies. It's a New Zealand dollar, not an Australian dollar. My apologies. Thank you for the correction from the chat.
You see the ones I'm talking about, right?
Sorry, which ones are you referring to specifically? Sorry.
There's some smaller pieces a little bit if you zoom in to where the large group of them are.
Sorry, I'm working with a new Zoom tool that I wish I could just select an area and it automatically goes to it, but they don't make a Firefox add-on to do that. So you're talking about these pieces right here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I see a couple of square pieces. Let me go to the view from the side of those same pieces. Which one was it? Okay, we don't have it to the right. We need that just a bit more to the right here. Got left. Okay. You know, by the way, Mauricio, when you're doing the pole cam, how do you normally know what you're taking pictures of?
You can pretty much see through the fence, the one at the bottom, when it's the camera's on top of the pole cam, I actually have a live feed on my cell phone, so I'm able to just frame the camera and take a picture of what I want to do, what I want a picture of. And oh wow, Philip Kid just donated $50.
Did you see it?
Camera sooner now, yeah. Wow, you.
Yeah, I can't see it. It's just right off screen. You can see this stuff, but you can't see here. So you can see like these parts, and everything what we're trying to see is basically in this left group over here. So there's just like this in the way, or maybe that's not what we're looking at, is it? No, that's just right next to us. So it's like right back in here. Wow. All right, let me see if we've got another angle to kind of get a better understanding of what we're looking at there. And sorry for the zoom and moving around so much there. Trying to get those tight zoomed in shots here, and I can't really make out what that is. It's just kind of a square block. Same kind of gray material, at least on the top in the center. It looks like a circle surrounded by a square. Maybe it's just two squares.
So we have that other image that Mauricio sent in below that one. They have, it's the one that it's looking at booster 5. The
Got
close-up
lost.
one.
All right, let me pull that back up. So under booster 5, you said?
Yeah, so it was the, let me see which image that
Got
was. So yeah, looking at booster 5 a little,
Yeah, that really gets this very nice and clear, as well as that little structure right here. So it's really zoomed in already. So when you were using the zoom on your lens, are you looking at like a 200 millimeter to 600, or are you doing a 2x teleconverter as well?
No, I found that the 2x teleconverter on the Sony is actually counterintuitive for this type of stuff, just because it actually makes it worse. And so I just use I just use a 600 millimeter lens for this, no teleconverter.
Okay. Oh, wow. You can see that they've already made some what appear to be interesting cuts or something on this as well. And this actually looks more corrugated, not like stainless steel. We might be looking at a roof structure, but it's nothing like a roof I've ever seen. And you can see the way that it has these like cutouts right here. And then there's a cutout right there. This whole area just curves, and it does the exact same repeating pattern everywhere. And in fact, it actually does more like that. You can see there's a reflective piece right here that sticks out. And then there's this little circle right there. It looks like some sort of hydraulics or something like that. I can't really make heads or tails of it. But you can see the same thing is going on here as well. So all of those pieces are that same shape. That is not stainless steel, though. It definitely looks like it's corrugated steel or something along that lines, because it has a bit of a ripple to it. Maybe it's supposed to be for a concrete floor or something else like that. It's either a roof or a floor structure. Ooh, here's a thought. What if it's the oil pan? They're the drip pan for all the oil.
For all the things that they can't recapture, all the liquid.
Yeah, the one thing that it doesn't exist here on this part of the site, except as these smaller pieces, is the booster transport stand. Actually, is this the same size as a booster transport stand? That looks beyond the normal 9 meters. Sorry, just me and my circles. There we go. And
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it does kind of have that look to it that if it was closer to the size of the transport stand, I just really can't tell with the legs. So actually, that's just a 9 meter diameter. So never mind. It would have to be about that size, actually. It's got a perfect circle in there, and then what appears to maybe be holes for legs. So I can't figure out if this is for the booster transport stand, which is going to have 12 legs, and then 2 of them are the in and out, or if it's going to be the launch table underneath there. That's a good question to solve. Like you can do the math, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to keep an eye on that one. Do you think we can grab that angle of booster 5? So I think I'm trying to see if it looks like they're removing anything extra from there. And Mauricio pointed out something from that image that he noticed. Was this the one, Mauricio? Oh, he's muted. I think there was something in this image that he was mentioning in particular, but yeah, we saw from above that we have the SPMTs over there, but it kind of looks like, I can't tell if anything else has been removed. I mean, there's only one remaining COPV cover, or is that the HPU cover?
Yeah, it's the HPU cover right there.
But everything else is taken off, and I just looked back at some previous images, and it looks like those were removed. Those were still gone last week. I can't remember the last time they were actually on. I do see one sitting up there at the top left, so I'm wondering if they recently took that one off. I can't figure out when that one came off though.
That's been out for a while. They had some what were they called, Starlinks, or at least the radome material for Starlinks on this the HPU cover, and I believe they took that off. If it did have a Starlink on it, it would make perfect sense. I think they reused some Starlinks from previous vehicles on Ship 24 and Booster 7 because they want to just reuse what they've got. It's like, why buy more precious Starlinks when we've got the ones already available that are the exact same model? They haven't changed too much as far as those particular, I think, brown dishes that are already custom made for Starship. At least the fittings and structures are. So, is there anything else we want to go over on this, or did you find what you were looking for?
Well, I was actually hoping Mauricio was going to be able to answer whether or not there was something here, because I could have sworn he said that there was something that he noticed here that you want us to check out, but we can come back to that one if we need to. But yeah, we have a few more images that he's uploaded as well from the build site. It looks like he's still uploading some more images. Maybe we can move over to... let's see, these are zoomed out ones. Got some good ones of the wide bay.
Yeah, let's do some wide bay and or mega bay, as others are calling it here.
It's so hard for me to call it by that name. I try, but yeah.
All right,
Booster 5 is definitely leaving. That's crazy.
I like how you guys get all stumped mid-sentence, and it's like almost stops you in your tracks. It's amazing.
Yeah, I just saw another angle of those SPMTs at Sanchez, and it looks for sure that they're definitely moving that, not just leaving them there. So I'm thinking Booster 4 will end up in that spot soon.
I'm thinking we're going to see this head out to either Mega Bay or High Bay, and they're just going to cut it down to size.
Yep. And then use that transport stand instead of building the next one. That should save them a lot of time, because this is the most complete, the most complete of the new versions of the transport stand. So this one has the walking platform around it. So that will be really helpful when they're constructing, building, doing everything on Booster 8. So they'll have that walking platform. But yeah, I mean, it's looking to me that it seems more likely for them to. Oh, sorry, Booster 8's already on a transport stand. So that could be for Booster 9 after they remove it off of there.
That's always the crazy part is we haven't seen them reuse one yet. Booster 9, if they reuse Booster 5's transport stand, would be the first to have it reused. There's always the first with SpaceX. It's like they don't do it until they do it. So reusability on the transport stands is a really good idea. I mean, you're going to be throwing away Booster 7, Booster 8. They are not going to be landed and not reused. So those transport stands will be available. Might as well start trying to reuse transport stands before you have transport stands available and just coming out the ears.
This would explain why they haven't started on the other ones that they have, because they have this one available. So they may not need it as much. I have a feeling that we're going to hear rumors this week of, they're going to try and transport it to Florida, but I don't believe that.
Booster 5? No way.
No way.
I mean, you might be able to be like, hey, we're going to throw some stuff inside of it to, test a system for that. But like that would be only small incremental parts. I had the idea, if you're going to transport anything anywhere, you're either going to do it vertically or you have to do it horizontally, one of those two. Vertically would be best, but the booster, very top heavy. And the simple idea is you just bolt it down to the barge or sea platform that you're using. And you maybe take one of these transport stands, make it really nice and short. That way it's lower to the deck and you just bolt it down just like they do to the ground right here. That's just my 2 cents worth. So yeah, let me go back to the production site and we'll move on from Sanchez until we get that question answered from Mauricio of what was interesting that he was talking about. I think it was that one piece, but that we were looking at and staring at going, what is this shiny object? All right, so we've got the flyover pictures, and first off, Bucky still there. Okay, as of at least of an hour or two ago, but you can see that they've already brought in this truck to bring away one of these pieces. So this little crane has been the one doing all of that. It's just a Buckner crane, and they will take it and little segments and pieces and put them onto the trailer directly. So I think this will be one of the feet, the way it's set up here. And it probably already happened by now. So instant crow either way. So what is going on in the build site? Wow, that is a lot of boom lifts. Am I seeing like doubles here?
Well, oh wow, yeah, there's a ton in there. There was something I noticed back in the other image, but I think we're gonna have another angle of it soon, and I'll talk about it then. Yeah, that is a ton of vehicles in there.
Okay, first off, roofing, it's happening. You can see that they've already put down some of the roofing material. So that's this stuff right here. We've seen it sitting there for the longest time, and now they are actually starting to put it down. So the workers will probably head over to this side of the building for shade when they take their break. But they don't have all the walls up yet, and they're already sticking the roof on, which makes sense. And they have quite a bit of actually some rings over here that are kind of out of place. Those rings are
wow. So those were the ones that were outside of the ground fabrication building last week, and now it looks like they've moved them over there, which is interesting. I thought those were brand new. These, I think, are going to go inside of the Star Factory. Those are probably turntables for the floor, for the workstations.
Yeah, it does kind of look like it. There is a little bit of something hanging off here on this one. that and in like just these points. So it looks like they have the motorized carriage system. I think it's hard to tell. I'm looking at from 10,000 feet, but you've got a couple more images coming in here, so I think
So
we
if,
might be able to see
if those
more.
are if oh yep, I think there's even more of them now too. So they have even more of them at the bottom of that image.
Oh, hello.
On the right, yeah, those are the workstations for sure. So they should be building them in groups of 5 because there's 15 workstations. So I think these are those workstations. They're cranking them out pretty quickly too. And looks like that's the only place they have to store them right now.
Well, and gents, today's our lucky day because not only do we have Jessica Kirsch and we have Will from Space News Pod in the chat, but we also now have Felix from What About It in the chat. Hi, Felix.
Hey, Felix. And Jessica
I see
and Will.
just commented towards Felix. What's he going to do about it? Hey, Felix, welcome. And Jeff not Jeff, Jessica and Will as well. Thank you guys for joining us. It's always nice having Team Space in the audience with us. So greetings. You guys chose a perfect time as soon as Mauricio got back with these flyover images. And yeah, there's tons of stuff going on up here. There's actually, even at the top, were you looking at something down there too? Because I noticed there's a little bit of a
I'm looking at everything.
Bunker up top. So if you go to the top of the image where they're pouring concrete back there recently, and there's a ton of conduit going into there. I don't know if we can zoom in a little bit closer on that, but that's a really interesting structure. That may be the like control building for all the power that runs into this building, I'm thinking, because there's a ton of conduit going in there.
All the
we have a ground image of that as well too, right?
I think we do. So let me scroll to that real quick here. Let's see. There are so many images. We have over 300 ground images, so we won't be able to cover every single one of them, especially with the new flyover pictures. But we will try to cover the ground images as well. This is where I would say also, become a patron member if you're not. There is so many good details that we do overlook because we have such a short amount of time. So, anything from level 1, I think, is about 10 pictures. No, was it? Sorry. Actually, that's a Mauricio question. If he's there. Are you there, Mauricio? I guess he's not. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I'm still here. Sorry, I'm over here busy trying to get these images out to you all. But I heard the question. Yes, for Patreons, it's it's I usually give out more images than it says there in the first place. But you get the full gallery for the ground shots and also we break up the gallery in different sections. But you all get early access to these images. I'm actually uploading them right now for them.
So all 300 images will be yours for Patreon. That's pretty good. So these are shots from yesterday from the ground shots, and then we have the aerial shots that will be available later today. All right, I think, nope, that's not the building. I'm just trying to scroll through finding the particular part of the site. If you guys spot it with me or find the image, be sure to post it for me.
Yeah, let me check for that for you. Sorry about that. I can look for that in the background if you want to go to the if you want to continue with the aerials.
Yeah, let me grab those aerials again and keep looking around and spotting some new interesting things. Like, what do we have in Mega Bay? I mean, look at that. It's such a clear shot in on the morning side. I love these morning shots, Mauricio.
So it looks like there's a load spreader right there. If you inside the bay, like there's the actual load spreader hanging down.
It's hard to tell which one's the load spreader and which one's the shadow.
Yeah, there's also that ring.
Whoa.
It almost looks like a ring of rebar sticking out of the ground.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing as well. And what looks to be the size of a Raptor engine. It's got the, I think it's just one of those detachable plates that are on the bottom of the Raptor engines. So that gives you a nice sense of scale. That is really interesting. Let me zoom back out real quick just to also get the scale here. I'm going to grab a ring. See if I can grab just draw over one. There we go. So just a quick, dirty job of a ring. I love the scales. So that is way underscaled of rebar for, let's say, a 9-meter diameter. Just eyeballing it. Actually, that's not eyeballing it. It's worse. But yeah, that's smaller than 9 meters by quite a bit. And it makes me think of all of the other jigs and setups that they are putting in there for like turntables. And I know that they have that smaller black ring that is meant for, I believe, a booster thrust puck jig that will be like a turntable for it. And I maybe am looking at where that goes. So they'll put a concrete foundation and they'll make it turn as the turntable. So everything basically stays on the ground side for the welding equipment, stays in one position. It's just a robotic welder. It goes to the weld point and just sits there welding the entire time. So there's a bit of crow and speculation for an idea of what they're going to do there.
Yeah, we can see if you look a little bit to the towards the high bay, it looks like you can kind of see maybe where the progress of Starship 24's engine installation is. There's a ton of paneling still laying outside, which looks like it hasn't been used up yet. I think it's pretty safe to assume all of that's for 24. I'm looking up to in the other side of the image, and all the stuff that we thought was for booster 7 last time, and most of that stuff is gone, so it looks like that was true. So maybe all of that paneling right there is only for 24. While Thomas is grabbing some more images, there are some other interesting things on the bottom. Where is it? Next to all the ring sections, actually where the crane boom is, there's a little bit of a awning looking item. It's like pretty large welds. Actually, let me see if I can find a better image of that. But if you zoom in like towards the middle of the picture, you should be able to see it in there.
So in here,
no, sorry.
I moved to another image. Sorry about that.
Yeah, if you get in front of in the ring yard, if you can find a close up of the ring yard, that'd be good.
Well, I've got a ring in another area, which was pointed out by Nick here, who he pointed out that it's the 3-engine center Raptors. The question is it for ship 24 is what he put it down as. I don't know where that was pointed out from here. So let me see if I can spot it. Where was this?
He says it's right in front of high bay. She says, sorry.
Oh, okay.
And while you're at it and looking for things, I wanted to go ahead and thank Rocket Profit for his $50 donation. And then we also have a couple of other donations from, just Rocket Profit for right now. Sorry. Thanks, Rocket Profit.
Okay, scroll down a little bit. So, and to the right, you see those frames they're building right there? Yeah, right where your mouse is. So if you zoom in on those.
There we go.
So now that these are getting a little bit closer to being completed, I have a feeling that these may actually be work platforms for the Mega Base. So it looks like the stairway would fit in between there. Sorry, where the little L shape is. If you can zoom in a little bit more. There's like so first you can see the ring, or sorry, the circular shape on the side of it. So it looks like this would go up against in one of the corners of the Mega Bay, potentially. One of the ones where the stairway is. And then you would have a work platform where you could walk up the stairs, get off on that platform, and be able to access upper areas of the booster. Probably, if I had to guess, it would be near the top of the booster. Well, actually, they probably have several of these. They probably need one in near the middle, where the entrance to the methane tank is, and then one at the top so they can work on the grid fins without having to use the man lifts, because it would get really crowded inside the mega bay if you're using the man lifts. So I think these, oh wow, I wouldn't even be surprised, honestly, if these are able to slide up and down too, but that's a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I think these would just be stationary against the wall. As you said, the stair would be right here. This goes right up against the booster. They've already done this same system, except with scaffolding directly on high bay. So this would be a permanent version of that. And then you can always do additional scaffolding if you would like, but this would be so much better already, just seeing what they've done here. What did you say that these particular pieces you thought were? Because they look like they're panels as well, similar to this.
Which ones?
These pieces right here. So they,
that looks like another one, like they're starting another one right now.
Oh, I see. So it's basically just this. And this one, it has the stair cutout right here, where I don't quite see that. There's maybe something in this region, but that doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, and there's a chance they may not need to be the exact same. So if this one has to move around the stairway, then the other one could be in the middle of the wall. But I have a feeling that they'll probably all go in corners.
Yeah, I'm trying to draw the circle again for 9 meters just to demonstrate the effect of the way that this is built. So that's kind of fitting the 9 meters. I can't draw a circle freehand with my mouse very well, but oh well. So that is really a good find there. So Mega Bay is basically getting everything built out already outside of it, putting inside for all those different little pieces. We saw that ring area made of rebar. We've got the stairs would be fitting in the rest of this. What do we have on the ship 24 here? You got the best angles that nobody else will be able to get from up above and into to the high base. We've got another ring structure down there. Do we know which one this is?
The ring section?
Yeah, the ring section specifically. It's possibly S24 is what Jack says. Or so 27 or another payload quint is what Nick says. And then Jessica Kirsch has a question. Can we please call them crew lifts as opposed to man lifts? Their technical name is a boom lift.
Request.
Yes. So these are actually boom lifts. So technically a man lift would be everything from a scissor lift, a boom lift. It's just a general term.
Yeah, Jessica's definitely right about that one. I mean, it's tough for people who work in construction, as I have. You just call it what you call it at work. So it's hard to adjust to that kind of stuff. But yeah, we do try and account for that.
Yeah, it's also a cherry picker. Scissor lifts are also cherry pickers. Such a general term, but yeah, the technical name would be a boom lift. These would be JLGs, as the company who makes these particular variety. But yeah, there's that that trailer backed up, ready to be getting some stuff picked up. Probably this one right here. It's just sitting there. That's a large trailer. What were you saying, Indian Star?
Oh, nothing. Go ahead.
Well, I need to take a break and get a glass of water too. So.
Well, I can definitely, I found the donations that I overlooked accidentally, and I can give those away or say thank you to those gentlemen and ladies, because I can't speak English today. We have a $10 donation from Space News Pod. He says, hopes this helps for the camera. We have a $9.99 donation from Ryan S. Not only has it been amazing to see how much progress happens at Starbase, but watching you all do what you do has been an awesome experience. Sky's definitely not the limit. Oh, Ryan, you're the best, dude. Rocket Profit, $10. I'll match that for the new camera. Anyone else? Jacqueline, She donated 10 euros. Cam Aid. Space News Pod again. Will comes in with another $10. I'll match you again at Rocket Profit. Let's go. And then John Dopker with $10 matching. You guys are phenomenal. Marisa, we are well on our way to get that camera, man.
Yeah, have had the honor of talking to Will directly, I think twice now. And I know that he's moved down to Brownsville. Love to talk to him as well as Jessica again. And of course, we have our Felix, who's in Florida now. So he's got the goods on Florida, as well as Chief, who's, as we mentioned earlier, those are amazing shots of the Pez dispenser here. And you can actually get the look from the inside. Whoops. Don't know why it wants to do that. Go. So yeah, we've got the Pez loader inside of the Ship 25 Pent, or Quint as they call it, at Ring Watchers. I think of it as just a 5-ring stack. That makes such a easier way to describe it. But wow, look at that. It's got everything there except for the hole cut out. I can't tell if it is or isn't there. There's no daylight coming through. So maybe they plan on cutting the hole out after they have all the structural elements inside of it. We've seen the markings on the outside of it where they've chalked it out essentially, but nothing is showing yet that they've cut out the hole. We also have Nick coming in with another great selection of images. So we've got quite a variety of engine covers. Wow. Again, I'm like, wait, where is this area? I almost recognize it as the area probably I would have thought over to the far left, but nope, not over here. It's not the shipping and receiving area. And holy cow, we've got a brand new assortment right here of the flatter dome, which would be the 2.6 meter in height domes, I believe, because that looks to be about right. It's about the same radius as you'd have for a 9 meter diameter, so it's about 4.5 meters from here to here. All sorts of really nice looking new things, especially like we've got another one right here actually that is very similar to this, but this one looks to be a bit taller.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of interesting looking pieces down near the other tent number 2. I don't think I've seen these ones before. I'm not sure if they're there last week, but it seems to be, yeah, those ones right there in the middle.
Well, I've got the grid fin right here. That's another new grid fin. So Booster 7 has all of this style. But what specifically are you looking at here that was...
Right in the middle.
Okay, these?
Yeah. I don't know if we have any other images. It's kind of hard to tell what they are, but it looks like a pretty complex device. Like it doesn't look like it almost looks like a bunch of small manifolds, but it's hard to tell from this angle.
It looks to me like the pieces that go in between the inner engines, I think. But it's hard to tell because I'm looking at just this one angle. Maybe I've got another one here to go through and help figure that out. Nope, that's not going to be the right one. Here we go. Same angle. I think that's actually the same exact image. Yeah, we've got... okay, here's a good one. So there is those pieces. It's just not as zoomed in. I love these zoomed in shots like this. You can see so much detail. It's just we need the other angles here.
Yeah.
While you look for those angles, we can also thank Bogdan C for his 25 donation of Romanian New Lu.
Let's see, Thomas, do you have all of the other... oh, sorry, never mind. You're cycling through them right now. They have some more interesting angles of... Sorry. And by the way, just so everybody knows, Mauricio was still at the airport up until now. I think he's about to head back home. He's been sitting in the parking lot, I'm assuming, or in the actual airport, sending us images. So thank you, Mauricio, for that. And we now have pretty much everything that we need as far as launch site and the, I don't know if he's still here, if he maybe has the Starlink, the storage building that we're thinking might be for the Pez dispensers. I don't know if you're still here with this. Oh, no, he does have that as well, too. So we got it all
Yeah.
covered.
So I got that. The only thing is that they covered up the roof so we can't see inside of it. So I think the best thing to do is just to look at the ground shots for that one. Since I'm able to look through the door for that particular building. You're talking about that building, right? Right off
Yeah.
the SPMT storage. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You might. But yes, I'm gonna start heading home, and hopefully we have enough images for the stream here. And if you want to get the full gallery, the full high resolution images, you can download them and look through this yourself. These images are already on Patreon, and I'm about to post them for YouTube members. And on top of that, there's gonna be another gallery for you all later on tonight. So just stay tuned for that, and thank you all. I'll be around here. I'll be driving home.
Thanks
So
for all the hard
Drive
work, Mauricio.
safely.
Thank you so much, Mauricio. Safe driving. And thank you for taking that flight early this morning. We do actually have a couple of comments here from two different people. Dave Avery posted that they're clearing the pad and the site, so that's exciting. We might get some more stuff later in the afternoon. Hopefully it coincides with the end of the stream here. But yeah, so the other one was from Starship 3D. Says that the parts are probably the inner tank puck structure is what these are. That's what he was indicating. So I could see the inner connectors right here for what looks to be a distributor of, I think, a Starship, the downcomer for the methane or the LOX. I think that would be LOX on this one. And the plate structure looks very similar to what you'd have on a Starship or maybe a booster or Center 3. That downcomer on the booster, though, so that thing has so much more basically vertical, structure around it. So Booster 7 had that structural collapse. I think that they are overcompensating for that issue with this as a fix. So Nick saying triangular plate is for the booster attached to the bottom of the header downcomer, as far as you know. So that's interesting. And then all of these stretch form panels that are not quite used yet. It's all interesting. These are, I don't think these will ever get used the way that the tank heads are sitting here. So these are the tank heads that they use for all sorts of parts like domes and things. So we do have a question from Felix. Do you want to go through and grab that one, Ninja Star?
Sure. He asks, what camera are you guys saving for? He said, sorry he joined late, but you don't have to be sorry. We're just happy you're here, Felix.
Yeah, we so for those of you who joined after we explained this at the beginning of the show, so Mauricio has been we've all been saving basically to get a new camera for Mauricio. So currently his camera is experiencing some issues that cause file corruption when he's taking shots in the air. His camera actually just like kind of shuts off by itself, and so it's when you're taking aerial photos, he's just doing them in burst mode. So if you have your camera turn off in the middle of taking shots, then you can lose, 8 to 10 images at a time because it takes like 3 seconds for them to save. And you're taking like, 3 pictures a second. So yeah, so we're hoping that, the camera holds on until we get a new one. And also the goal is to upgrade it as well so that it's higher resolution. So we're going from 40, what is it? 40
A
megapixels?
Sony A7 III is what he currently has, and he wants to get a Sony A7R.
What's the megapixels on the current one?
40.
Yeah, so we're going from 40 up to 61. So that should drastically improve the quality of the images. So And also, even more importantly, just making sure that we're able to get them at all, because obviously if the camera's not working, then we can't do flyovers. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question. And like I said, we really appreciate everybody's donations towards that. I'm not really sure how close we are to getting there, since Mauricio is now in the car, I believe. Maybe he'll be able to tell us when he gets home. But yeah, we're definitely making progress thanks to all of you. So thank you guys again.
So we do have the answer to what these little pieces are down here. These pieces down here, you can see these three and then several more of these. They are from these pieces. So they come in small little segments. They stick them all together on the outer ring of the thrust puck for the outer 20. So that's what you are seeing right here. So thank you for that, Nick, as well as Jax, for those answers there. Oh, I'm loving this ring yard. It's filling up fast. And they've got all of these tie downs that they're using from the ground. I was so wrong about what these were. Remember, I was thinking that these were going to be columns, the way that they were structured and built and had rebar inside. Didn't think about tie downs.
Oh man, I had image of something just a minute ago that I was looking for. If you go back to the one you were on just previously, I think
This one?
Yeah, if you zoom out a little bit, or a lot of it actually.
Okay, where are we looking here?
Yeah, so can you zoom out just a little bit more? Or is that fully zoomed in? I believe it is. Yeah, so to the top right of the image, or just go up a little bit, and then left, right there. You passed over it, but a little bit to the right too. Sorry. There's a white panel on the ground.
This one right here, okay.
Yeah, so that was actually, I saw Jeff asking about where it went. So this was originally wasn't painted last week, and it actually has, I don't know if you're able to get closer to it, but it has some like ribs on it almost, like additional framework on the, yeah, so you can see it pretty close. It almost looks like a doorway of some kind, or like a sliding gate. But yeah, so that hopefully that answers your question, Jeff. There it is. It looks like they painted it, and with it being white like that, I would have to assume that that is for the Starlink Pez loader, because that's the only thing that we've seen painted white. So yeah, that's a good call on that one. I was kind of thinking last week that may be what it was used for, since it was kind of in and around that area when they were constructing it. So maybe we'll see that next time we see it. It will be installed on that Pez dispenser if we ever see it again.
Yeah, so the Pez dispenser was, you said it was in tent 3, the mushroom tent?
Tent 1, I believe, actually.
Okay, that makes more sense, because I was like, I don't know why they put it in the nose cone tent, but okay. So yeah, that's where they keep all of the Raptors, is this tent 1 here. And that looks like it would fit on the top, maybe. So it would be
that's
one of the panels of the short section, so this would be a bunch of these should appear, I would suspect.
I also had a feeling that the so on the actual Pez dispenser, the Pez loader itself, there's some, you may have to go to the image from last week to show the overhead of it.
Sorry, I have to go through behind it.
You're fine.
There we go.
Yeah, so right now you see the railing sticking out the front of it, but I'm wondering if that is actually able to retract all the way back in to the box, and then maybe that panel, I don't know if it's too big to be used as a doorway for the bottom side or not.
Like, when they moved that box, they didn't retract those sticking out pieces, and that was something we were thinking that they would do.
Because the mechanism isn't fully set up yet, or if it's permanent, like if it doesn't retract.
Well, so here's a quick thing we can do is say that the 8-foot distance between the both sides of the shipping container right here, from here to here. About that gives you a good reference to say how many. Let's say the panels are going this way. How many do you need?
I saw somebody in the chat ask why we call it a mushroom tent. So we called it that because of the shape when you look at it from the front. I believe the tent number 1 we referred to as the onion tent, and then tent number 2 was the mushroom tent. It's just like 2 different things that are shaped similar to that tent. So it's not like the real name of it. It's just kind of, it was a good way of separating the 2, like naming them almost. Mushroom tent was number 1. And
I was under the impression it was also because we named the GSE building the pizza oven, excuse me. So with the pizza oven comes the toppings and hence the tents. But I could be wrong.
Yep. No, you're correct. That is the naming style. So it's a community driven naming style because we didn't know like what they were calling the tents, and we had a numbering system too, but it was backwards. It was like, well, it's the tent that you built is the first tent, so that's number 1. And they kind of built the tents and other structures in some interesting orders. Like, do you call the tent 1 that was pre-existing tent 1, or all those things? Or like tent 2 was actually tent 1, and it was, or I'm sorry, tent 1 was what we called tent 2. So that's why we used the names that we did until we got better names, and we just started using pizza toppings.
Right, because it went with the GSE building, which everyone thought was the pizza oven, or called the pizza oven at the time.
Yeah, and it brought up the whole pineapple versus no pineapple on pizza debate every time. And I must say, I do love myself some pineapple. It's good stuff.
On your pizza?
Oh, definitely on my pizza with Canadian bacon, which is just ham, but it's good stuff. So I've got to go back to the BSD shed site. That's the one I was looking for. So here's the quick number of these. So it actually doesn't quite fit. So each one of these should actually be a little bit smaller by about that much. So maybe we could fit like one more like this. But it kind of sticks out the other end. Maybe I'm not getting the best measurements because you're using the 8-foot distance of the shipping container and trying to, get a good measure of where things are at. So the other one I was looking at was that 40-foot shipping container size, and I don't see quite where the end is at, but I think it's about right there. And so comparing the 2, we might actually have it go the other direction. So here's the 40-foot length right here. Just as a quick reference. Always keep clicking on the wrong one. So there's that one, and the build site back here. Yeah, I'm trying to, just compare those 2 and get a good understanding.
It's fine. It's just an idea. We can move on from it. It's just an idea I was throwing out there, but we do have a good amount of other images to cover through, and it's approaching 2:00 right now. We always use Starbase time for everything, so sorry to everybody who's not used to that. But yeah, we also have a ton of ground images as well too. But I think you guys definitely want to see more of the aerials, so we'll try and work our way through those. Ooh, look at, is that what's in the middle right there? Are those just...
Well, the thing that actually has my interest peaked the most is actually the steel plates. I'm like,
Yeah.
We've got enough steel plates for days. We could put all of the steel plates we want onto
launch mount.
The launch mount. That was like a huge debate, like, because it's all like about how much time it's going to take to get those, and it's like, we have those already. It's just cutting them down to size and welding them directly to the frame, and you now have yourself a flame diverter system for each of the legs and all the piping. So it's all there. It's just, what is it underneath these black pieces? I have no idea. Very squarish though.
Yeah, there's a lot of you see all the white frame, or the white they almost look like tables, but they're not.
These guys.
They do look like tables, though. You're very spot on when you say that.
Yeah, they look like
they're stacked on top of each other.
Yep.
And then there's this this cage as well. This one's kind of leaning quite a bit, but these cages, steel cages, they kind of different sizes. I think these would look like they
Zombie
might.
cages?
No, like just a box made of steel tubing, square tubing. It's just that I would expect to see it open on one side or something like that if it was going to be mounted to the launch table legs, unless it doesn't have any piping go through it. So you might be able to just take something like this and put it on the leg directly, just to make it look symmetrical. So it's all about style on those legs, but I don't know why they're doing that yet if they haven't even covered up the other legs.
Do you think the silver tub-looking thing to the right of that last white table has something to do with them? Just to the right of the where you were
right
just.
there.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it almost looked like solar panels wrapped up in like the saran wrap kind of stuff, but I don't see anything else. I mean, you could see there's a grid structure in it, but it doesn't look like these. So I don't know what that is. There is so much good stuff in there, though, to try to figure out and understand. It looks like some sort of tanks as well that are covered, or maybe they are parts of a electrical system for distribution. I really just can't tell with just the aerial shots. I'm really a ground shot person. Aerial shots are definitely Golden Boy's forte. Let's see what else we have in here that are interesting. Actually,
I was muted there for a second. There's
okay. So what you were wanting to look at?
There's just a ton of stuff out there just in that yard. It's like hard to see what everything is. There's just like a gold mine of random things. But there is like a whole rack full of.
Which
sorry.
are you? Which BFC?
That's the one we were looking at right before.
BFC side, or what are you looking for?
In the same area, yeah.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of items on a rack right there, like in the middle, upper middle of the image.
Okay, these right items right here.
Yeah.
There's a bit more of that right there too. It looks like
we actually. Sorry to everybody. We kind of spend a lot of time in this area sometimes because there's just, everything that usually goes on the launch mount gets constructed here first. So we always are trying to anticipate what's happening with the launch mount by looking in that area.
All right, how about we play a game? Spot or yell out everything you see that you recognize. Bicycle, chip crane, truck. I don't recognize what this is, but it looks like some sort of air handling unit. It looks like a ductwork would go inside of there. Crates just full of all sorts of random things.
Curious what that green thing is, because it looks like somebody painted it, like an artist, graffiti artist, next to the black chair or whatever's covered in that black.
Oh, these.
You see
these
the green? Nope, to the left.
Oh, this one.
It looks like yes.
Oh, I see like a face with hair, and yeah, that looks interesting.
It looks like a graffiti painting. You know, graffiti artists, how they paint and stuff. That's what it looks like to me. Or Native American. I mean, indigenous. Sorry.
Yeah, it does have an interesting look to that. All right, so there's a lot more to go through here at the build site as well. I was actually focused on a bit more of the Pez dispenser again. Sorry, I'm still working out the bugs of this zoom tool I've got for Firefox. It works better than zooming into the far left corner. But yeah,
which is what happens, though. It's funny because Thomas used to do that, and it would take us to the left corner. That's why.
Now it takes us towards the center every time I zoom, which is better than the left corner. But it's still annoying when it moves around so much, and I'm still trying to find something better. But anyways,
look.
well, you've got some stuff to bring up?
Just a couple real fast. John Dobker did a $20, provided us with a $20 donation. He says, I know we're all focused on the camera fund, but here's some gas money for Mauricio's next flight. So thank you, sir. We appreciate that. And Brian Alloway with another $20.22 donation. Thank you, gents, so much.
Thank you, Brian and John. And then it looks like we have a question as well. Do you want to go through that real quick?
Sure, if you have time, I have time. Lyric Bread asks, given their goal of rapid reusability and the behavior at the launch tower, won't Starlink satellites need to be loaded at the tower? Perhaps the loader will interface with the tower. Do we think it's going to happen at the tower?
So I've considered that you could attach it to the side of the tower itself, but it has to be at the exact height you need it for Starship. So you would have to have a whole mounting system in order to make that happen. I haven't seen anything happen with the tower on any of the sides that would allow for that. So it wouldn't be able to put the Pez loader onto the chopsticks. So this is the Pez loader. You could basically put this theoretically, let's say, against the tower. I am for the theory that you use these 4 lift points, and you might have a load spreader between there, so the box itself doesn't turn itself into a diamond shape or a squashed diamond shape, really. Or I guess a trapezoid. So yeah, you don't want to go through and put this on the side of the structure because you can't manipulate it very well. This would be great to just lift with Marvin, so the Libra crane that SpaceX owns. I think that's how they will be doing it at the launch site. So this would basically be a clean room environment where you have your satellites in a pristine condition, and the inside of the ship should be clean as well. So I think it was, which image was it? This one right here. So this is the one we were talking about with Grandpa Joe, that you would have this basically connect directly to it. They would load it from one side to the other. It has to be a pristine environment on both sides. So this would be cleaned prior to Starlink's installed. And with the Ship 24, it's just the removal of any FOD, so foreign object debris, so plastic or pieces of metal, anything that you don't want interfering with your mechanisms or even just contaminating the sensors or other equipment on the satellites itself. You don't want that stuff adhering to the any of the equipment that you're using. Now, the big one is going to be, as you mentioned, the Pez dispenser itself. It needs to be attached to something, so you could put it over here on the side of the launch tower itself. Well, actually, it would be on the opposite side of everything else because you don't want it to be giving you problems. However, you now have the issue of the satellites need to be in a clean room environment, but you're having it the satellites either installed in the shed or somewhere else. You have to reattach that Pez loader every single time. It's just probably easier to lift it up directly to the Starship and interface there directly to here, and it solves a lot of issues. That rail system we talked about before pretty much does the same thing. And so this basically is a Pez loader and Pez dispenser, and the same thing with the Pez loader. They both load and dispense. That's how they function. So go ahead.
No, I was just saying I think we may need to work our way to the launch site. I'm just noticing a ton of stuff over there.
Oh, yeah. There's plenty more. So we have, an hour left? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Sounds about right to move along to the launch site. So we're already looking at this image. This is one of the first ground shots of the launch site. I'm going to actually bring up just the booster itself real quick so we can look at a full panoramic view of the booster.
You got Rocket Prophet all excited too.
So yeah, this is exciting to see. This one is one we've been debating and hemming and hawing over quite a bit on what this particular item is for, and what it actually is even made of. So the first one I heard was like copper, and I'm like, no, it doesn't look like copper. The one that kind of keeps coming back to is maybe cork. So the idea is that this would be either an acoustic or temperature damper. You're wanting to basically insulate the valve here for this is basically the vent or the RCS as well. So it's
So the
dual
ullage
purpose.
thrusters, right?
Yeah, it'd be a ullage thruster. So maybe the people are thinking you don't want it to ice up. The issue is that methane that would be coming out of here, the gaseous methane in space or in a vacuum, it actually takes it a lower temperature to freeze. And so it's not quite there yet for being able to freeze, unlike the oxygen side. Oxygen loves to freeze and turn into solid oxygen. That's what you see as far as chunks off of the Falcon 9 and other vehicles when it's in space like that. So the question is, maybe this is quark, maybe it is also the opposite direction. You don't want it to heat it up during reentry, and this is a test article. So one thing you'll notice, it doesn't have it over here, just on the right side. So it could be a test article to see how well it handles the testing of the booster itself. We have seen some venting already occur. So this has been vented. This has been vented. They did quite a bit of it the other day. It was just a spontaneous occurrence of venting on Booster 7. So it did hold up. It's not an issue there. It just is a question if it's a heat shield type material, which is cork. It's ablative. And we've also seen, I don't know if we have it on this part, but further down there is some stringers. I'm sorry, what's called well doublers. I don't think we actually have them visible here. That they're all on the opposite side. So there's some well doublers that have that same type of cork material. So maybe they're trying to keep a bit of ablative material on there to see if it will help prevent some issues with the welds. So any other questions or anything else we want to talk about on the Starship, at least on this side of it while we have it here? By the way, this is a full panorama. I love these. So our good friend puts these together. Let's see, it's not Rocket Prophet. Oh my goodness, I looked at the name now. I can't remember. Mr. Pleasant. So thank you for that, Mr. Pleasant, for these panoramas you put together of Booster 7 and some other things. So what else should we look at here on the site? Just the regular stuff or
Launch site.
launch site?
Yeah,
Okay,
aerials.
You want the aerials? Okay.
Yes, please.
So I'm going to bring those over here. All right, first off, we're looking almost from dead above. We'll have to wait to hear from Mauricio if he did get one straight on, but that is so darn close. I think he's just taking a picture when he's right above this point here.
Yeah, you can see on the side of that image that they have some new concrete forms being set up.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of weird the way they have that shaped. It's kind of hard to tell if it's just an additional concrete pad or almost like a retaining wall type deal. But truthfully, it almost looks like it could end up, I mean, if it ended up being as deep as it looks for water runoff from deluge.
Well, so
obviously they don't have a retention pond, but the water's got to go somewhere. And sorry, I keep calling it deluge, the sprinkler system. So depending on how much water that actually puts out, they may need to have like a planned runoff area or like a capture area. So I don't know if it's possibly sloped down towards there, but I can't really see it. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one.
What are you looking for? The tank farm?
No, I was just still talking about that same image.
Okay.
I lost your screen for a second there.
Are we on the on the correct side?
So what do you mean the correct side?
Yeah, it's the other side.
To the left. There's actually what he was describing. Keep going to the left, my friend. Almost exactly to the other side of the Booster 7. See it right there on the left?
Okay, right here.
Yes.
Wow,
That's what you were referring to, right, GB?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I'm hearing
Yeah. So if we,
formwork, so I'd look at the formwork that was the most obvious.
yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. I may look for that from the ground too. Obviously, they're holding walls up for something, and it looks to me more like there's not going to be anything in the middle of it, but that they're actually putting walls instead of because it looks like there's concrete on the bottom of it already. So to me, this looks like almost like I said, drainage for that system potentially. But I don't know. And while we're here, since we are a little bit past that 2:00 hour, if you guys have not liked the stream already, please make sure you do. We try not to bring it up too often because we know that it gets a little bit repetitive for some people, and so we try and just give you guys just a few reminders and stick to being on topic. So thank you guys if you were able to do that. We really appreciate you guys for being here. And it looks like, hold on, Thomas, are you? Oh, sorry. There's one more thing in this image as well too. Actually, I can't tell which side you're looking at.
Well, so this is the just behind the booster. So here's the integration tower, just above. So one thing I'm noticing about the forms that they're putting up, it's forms that is looking to put concrete as a foundation first. So they're doing this triangular area as a foundation. You can see that the way that they have the forms set up, it's in parallel. So between this concrete and this concrete, there will be a form for a foundation. And this is probably some of the last little bits of area that they have left for room. Like everywhere that the silt fence line is right here, that is where they are allowed to build up into. It's per the current launch license and the PEAs that they've done already, is the silt fence. So there's additional silt fence here. I believe that's just for making sure they don't have anything else go into the environment like this. So the plastic came off something and went over the silt fence, but the silt fence there is there to try to capture a lot of that stuff. So they also have a permanent fence here for security, which is great. It's not permanent, it's movable, but they have it pretty well locked down, which is good.
And isn't
Anyways,
it the same fence that always falls down in past launches? We always see it on the ground in the past launches.
absolutely. And it's if they don't do it themselves beforehand, it will do it for them.
Exactly. Now, one thing, there was a question John Dobker was asking. He says, would they be able to collect and recycle the water from the, deluge system, noise suppression system, water mister, whatever you want to call it?
So in the future, there is plans for it right here to collect as far as a collection pond. Golden Boy, do you want to say more about that?
Yeah, I was gonna say that I wouldn't be surprised if what they're building ends up going all the way around towards the berm, because that takes it to their property line essentially. So I wouldn't be surprised. It's almost if they kept it full with water to be like a moat that stops people from getting to the launch complex from that side of the salt flats. But
start calling Gwen Guinevere.
But yeah, so it'd be interesting if that ends up going all the way around. They wouldn't necessarily be reusing it. It'd almost be like it'd just be there to evaporate essentially, if I would have to imagine. But I think we're going to see even more progress with that next week. But there's also at the top of this image, just behind the top of the tower, like if you zoom in right there.
I'm going towards the center. Sorry. Okay,
fine.
So
right there in the middle of the screen, those are, or to the left, those are the 5 pistons for the chopsticks. Those are for the landing rail right there.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah, we saw the new damper come in, the viscous damper. It looks kind of like an accumulator, but a viscous damper means that they have liquids and gases together in a system in order to allow the chopsticks to be basically cushioned. It's like the shock absorbers on your car.
Well, this might actually be a good time for me to say this. If you guys haven't seen it already, I put out an episode about 2 days ago, and I talked extremely in depth about like how the actual dampening system of the chopsticks works. So this is why I knew that those were going to be here, because I was kind of anticipating them showing up this week. So if you guys haven't seen that, please check it out. You can just search CSI Starbase on YouTube if you haven't already. It is rather long, but hopefully
It
it's
is not
informational.
long, and it's super funny, and it's super educational, and like you'll be taking notes because I always do. It's amazing. It's one of his best ones so far. He and Jeff do a phenomenal job.
Thank you. So if you guys have seen it, then on that left carriage arm there are those 5 we basically call them like gas springs. So they're hydraulic piston accumulators with that gas, I don't know if the right word is expansion tank next to it. But so that is for on the left arm, and I'm assuming there's going to be one on the right arm as well. And the fact that there's only 5 pistons out here right now kind of makes me think they're starting with the left arm, and then they'll do the right one second. So I think all 5 of these pistons on the ground will be mounted in the locations that are kind of shown down here. I'm not exactly sure where the secondary attachment point is, but you can kind of see where the first one is.
Yeah, so there's the first one, and it has to attach to this somehow, or up here, up above. It's got to connect between either here and here, or here and down here. I think above would make more sense. So this would be the point you're locked into up and down, and the piece right here, that's a 4-bar linkage. So I'm probably repeating quite a bit of what you said in your video already. But this is where you basically have your 4-bar linkage. So this is basically should be 2 parallel lines here and 2 parallel lines there. And then this basically goes up and down on these pivot points. So this already works as where they lift up the booster and the Starship from, is this rail system right in here. So those pistons, you're saying they're going in here as well?
Jessica asked if I could post a link in the chat. I'm hoping this doesn't result in everybody leaving. Don't leave. Just save that for later.
It's not going anywhere. We are. And it'll be a good way to cap off this episode, is to watch that episode.
Wow, I've got over 550 people watching right now. This is amazing. Thank you for that note, Jeff.
How about that? I'm going to delete that link, and then I will post it at the end of the... Oops. I just deleted somebody else's message. All right, guys, I got mod capabilities earlier today, and I'm not using them properly. So sorry, Bernard Jansen, for deleting your message. Don't take it personally. I was
You're
trying
in
to
direct competition with Golden Boy and Jessica there. Sorry.
Trying to delete my own message. But yeah, so it's hard to figure out where those are actually going to be located. I'm sure we'll probably see it really soon, but the secondary mounting point is the part that I don't understand, because there's really nothing on the rail of the chopsticks for that to attach to yet. So
it would have to be above. Like, that's my speculation, my crow, because if you try to angle it over, you now have to have a bar connecting to this going to the left where it's going to pull up, and that's basically the way it would have to work. Is it would basically have this suction force essentially on the pistons themselves. It would be better to go from above and down, which is a direct link, not this weird bar sticking out. So just go from here down to here. But yeah, it looks really short if that's the case. Because like this right here, compared to what we were looking at before, that is the other side of the problem. It's like, how does that work together?
Yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting to watch them set that up. And I imagine they'll, like I said, do one at a time. So start with that left one. And test everything and make sure that it works correctly the way they want it to before they install the next one. I mean, it seems like a pretty big task getting all that stuff on there. So I'm looking through the rest of these images as well as Thomas is going through that.
Yeah, these
There
look
is-
way too tall for what my idea is.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So
I was thinking that same
breaks my
thing.
idea. There's unless you're able to pivot it somehow further down, and they just need to redo all of the structural bracing. I don't think that would work.
You know what? I'm going to add in that it's a possibility that these are not for that because of how large they are. I mean, well, they're about the size that I'm
Oh.
expecting. I just can't see them fit. Oh no, they're definitely pistons. Actually, I'm looking at them a little closer now.
Well, look at how big this thing is compared to like this mini excavator. It's the same width of the mini excavator, so that one's an obvious one. But shipping container right here. So it's about 6 feet. Shipping container is 8, so 6 feet right there is about what these are.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna be really excited to see those get installed, and definitely be on the lookout. And we'll keep you guys updated as well. There is one more thing that I wanted to mention, other than obviously the berm receiving concrete, which is going to look pretty nice when that's done. So
Let's look at this real quick from up above, and I've got the ground shot here. Let me pull that up.
Okay.
So here it is from the. Oh, that's not it. That's just dirt. I'm looking at thumbnails to pull that up. It was a different one. Sorry. Because I'm pretty sure I saw that that image earlier of the side of the berm. That's not it either. We'll have to get through these pretty quick. Sorry about this. Oh, here it is. It was just next to where I was originally. So there's the concrete being added. So they've obviously dug down to get the foundations for each of these sections. So there's the rebar mat. It will have its own mini foundation. I think it's so it doesn't slip down the dirt slope as it gets wet or other things that would be problematic. So they do have their own separate foundations for each one of these jogs. One other thing to note, you can see that in the aerial, is there's a separation between them, and that's just simple. They're using the forms right now to put in the concrete and keep it basically nice and straight. What you will see happen, though, is that, as we can see in the fly, is that they will basically remove these forms and then use the concrete as the form. So now you basically fill in the rest of it, just like you did in here. So there's some big stuff going on over at the tank farm. Golden Boy, do you want to bring this up now, or do you want to forever hold your peace on this?
Yeah, I'm still on the fence about it, but we can talk about it. So basically, we all know that they're in the process of converting the 2 tanks that used to be the methane tanks. They're converting those over to something else. And if you can actually see the pipe on the ground, it doesn't look like they've. Looking at the opposite side.
There's the pipe right here as well. You're talking about?
Yeah, it's tough to see from that angle a little bit.
I'm seeing if I could find the ground angle of that particular spot, because the ground shot will show potentially, if we have it here, those same pipes coming through here. I'm just trying to find. I haven't spotted the image yet, so this is one of those fun little times. I think this is the right hand side. Nope, this is the right hand side, but it's just looking a little bit too far to the right. Maybe this one here. Here we go.
There we go.
So it would basically be this pipe right in here, just beyond this fence. And they've had the manhole connected so that air is coming inside, and they've been working with that quite a bit.
So I'm not gonna go super deep into it, because I do plan on doing a really large deep dive into why this is happening. But basically, initially we were kind of confused on if they're converting them to liquid oxygen or converting them to additional nitrogen tanks, but it's actually neither. So this this is funny. So what's actually happening here is SpaceX is converting these 2 tanks into water tanks. These are going to, now they will have 2 water tanks, and I'm pretty positive the previous water tank will no longer be used. So they're transferring the water from that tank over to this one. And there's a lot of ways that you can tell that. But like I said, it's a pretty deep dive, so I'm gonna save that. But I did want to like let you guys know that, because we do get a lot of questions about if they're gonna do anything to these tanks. But it looks like they finally have, and I think you guys will understand why it's kind of funny in a way once I put that episode out. But yeah, so be on the lookout for that. It's really, really interesting, I think, what's going on back here, and it's crazy that this isn't finished already. But the you know, when I first saw this conversion happening, I guess about a month ago, when we were originally asked if we think that they would convert these, like my answer was not a chance, not while they're preparing for orbital launch, and that was under the assumption that that it would be switched to liquid oxygen or liquid nitrogen, because that would be a pretty major undertaking. But now it makes sense why they're doing it so quickly, because they need that water, and they can't. I'm almost certain they can't use the other tank.
Well, you don't want to go into the detail. Do you mind if I go into a couple of details?
Sure.
So first off, the valve right here is a short stem, so they don't do cryo with these, because basically if you do cryo with a pneumatic valve stem,
I guess those are the details I wasn't going to go in.
Okay, well,
You're
there
fine.
it is. And then we've got a nice ladder right here. Perfect.
And Sharpie
yeah,
points out tic-tac-toe, because SpaceX loves their tic-tac-toe.
And are these water meters? I mean, what are those? No, that's not water meters, but that would be hilarious.
Are those just is that the four gas sensor on the front?
I think so.
So the four gas monitor, I believe, possibly. And those I think those may actually be for like ultrasonic sensors for the tanks, actually, to detect the level in the tank.
Kind of a distance.
So those are the readout panel.
Just to be the readout panel only.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not hooked up to anything on this one.
No, not yet. Yeah, these in oil and gas, you would see these on they call them ISOs. So it's basically a container that they use to move chemicals. And this actually gets me onto something a question that we skipped over on accident. So sorry about that. I think it was 55 Chevy guy who asked about some of our backgrounds. So I guess I can explain mine in the process of this. Most recently, actually, hold on. So, I have a pretty big background in like construction. So structural steel construction on the project management side. And same thing with mechanical, so HVAC and plumbing. And after that, I also have a lot of just general mechanical design experience, just as a mechanical engineer. And I've also worked in the oil and gas industry for it was like 5 years as a field engineer. And currently I do capital equipment supply chain management. But yeah, sorry, I want to let Thomas give his background as well too before I continue on.
Armchair engineer, but doesn't mean I develop armchairs. I just develop my skill set learning from everybody else around me. So I've talked to a lot of aerospace individuals. Former background as archivist, would basically scan in photos. So I really love to go through a lot of different photos and kind of just look at what they have in them, and usually like look at the detail of the photo and see that, yes, it looks good. It looks sharp and detailed. And sometimes it's like, wait, what is that? That's interesting. But this is the kind of stuff that I love to do, is just understand the technical elements of what Starbase is doing, what Starship is doing, because it is how we are going to get to the stars. So that's my general background. Indian Star?
Well, my background is not really in rockets per se. I mean, I'm more on the technical writing, communications, and finance side. So I've done all of those things. But I I have a big love for SpaceX and I have a big love for rockets. So I'm learning and I get to hang out with you guys all day long. So it's not so bad. Day in, day out. You might get sick of me, but I don't get sick of you.
Well, that's pretty much what this is all is everything is about community for us. We're all sticking together as far as a community that is just loves rockets, loves what SpaceX is doing, and want to learn more on how they're doing it. So we go into deep depths. I was listening into a conversation between my friend Philakid and Dave, and they were basically having this whole debate and question over I believe the stucco of the front of the fuel farm there in this section, right? Actually, on the right side over here, they were like wondering how thick it was and talking about it. And Dave's down there right now, so he's humming and hawing and looking at it directly from across the street. It's like, no, it's about I think half an inch. I think is what he said finally. But it was just an interesting conversation just to understand like how they're doing things, why they're doing things. We try to put it together in reasoning when we have so many different friends. Like as I mentioned, Philakid, he's an architect. Dave is in aerospace, so they are able to give us a lot of great information and insights, and many other individuals to what is going on, what things are, and how they work. So we do a lot of great deep dives. I do rocket talks on Lab Padre, and then Golden Boy does his amazing videos. And we've basically just grown as a community to love the material here.
And
yeah.
Golden Boy's also on Lab Padre with you. And we all do
second
this.
Lab Padre's general is the community.
Oh,
sorry.
I see. Sorry.
I'm checking one thing really quick before I mention this, just to make sure it's correct. And it's not. So I will skip over that. I just noticed something over at the suborbital side. But on that note, we do have suborbital B, which is not in this image. I don't know if Thomas wants to show that one, the progress on that. That may actually be better to even look at from the ground.
Well, we could do both. So here's suborbital pad B. You can see they've got some pipes going up. We've got Marvin just hanging about saying, what should I do? This actually right here where it's on is actually a crane pad. There's extra thick concrete foundation under there. So this is where they have to stage the cranes for any moves or anything like that. But let me go to the ground photos here of I have to click on it and assume that this is it. Nope, that's pad A. Still pad A.
There is a question while you guys are at it. There's actually 2 super chats and a question. Rocket Profit, again, donating $19.99. Thank you, Rocket. Oh, I'm sorry, not Rocket Profit. Rocket, excuse me. My eyes automatically saw Rocket Profit. Apologies, Rocket. Rocket donated $19.99. And John Dopker with another $10 saying, see y'all next week. Thanks for everything. And then I got a question because I thought that the lightning rods were already installed, but I could be wrong. Ayusha asks, how are they going to install the lightning rods on the tower? I thought that they're already there because I think RGV, Mauricio has pictures of the lightning rod, doesn't he? Or the lightning, what is it when you push it away? Deflector?
Lightning, it's a like deionizer. So there is multiple lightning rods already in place, and then they are putting one more up there. I can jump directly to that since I
think
know
you're
where
good
we're
with
looking.
pad B. Yeah.
Well, I'll
That way
jump
we
back to
can-
pad B here. But yeah, so here are several of the lightning rods. You can see them, just these little lines here. Those are the pre-existing lightning rods. They will be putting up another one right in here. It looks like an umbrella. It's a deionizer. It basically helps remove the static electricity from the air so that you do not have a lightning strike. But if you do, it'll hit that or these tips. And these will all be separately grounded to their own grounding lines directly into the ground without going through the structure itself. That's the thing you want to avoid. So does that answer the question, or do you want to go more into it?
I'm good with it.
Okay. So back to pad B. So Golden Boy, take it away.
Oh, yeah. So we have pad B here. Basically, you can see that they've started installing all the flex hoses on there. So it's kind of what we were thinking last week, that they would end up permanently leaving pad A with or not permanently, at least for now, leave the hydraulic rams on top of it, and then use this one for static fire testing of ship 24 when it comes back out. So that way they don't have to constantly be converting them back and forth. They'll just, what I think, always use this one for WDRs and static fire tests, and the other one is for puck shucking, essentially, currently. But yeah, we'll probably see ship 24 on pad B when it comes back out, I believe.
Yeah, that's something I have this horrible disagreement with myself about, that they are moving to a stage system where they're doing puck shucking on A and all of the static fires on B, because the whole movement procedures, I went through and listed them all off. It's like the number of things you have to do is quite a few, and it takes 2 to 3 days to move the ships around, versus the 12 hours it takes to take down the puck shuckers. But they did move ship 24 back to the build site, which was well, that's out of either of our expectations. However, they are making great progress on B. As you mentioned, the lines are already existing. So the question is, will it be pad B, or will it take down the puck shuckers and make that one the static fire stand? And I'm probably going to eat crow, and it's going to be at pad B. Quite a bit of crow. Yeah, it's looking amazing. I always look at how much stuff that they are moving and changing. So it has the new style of connectors for ship 24 and above, and wait another 10 ships or so, and this might change yet again. They're not beholden to an old style, so there's always rapid change. So do you want to go talk about the tower a little bit, on what's going on over here?
Yeah, sure. I haven't had a chance to look through those images. I haven't really seen a whole lot of new updates on that, other than on the chopsticks. It looks like they're finalizing everything up here. I mean, we still have all the scaffolding up there, but you can see that everything, all the cryo lines have been fully wrapped, it looks like. And yeah, we're getting a little bit closer to having that all finalized. I'm hoping that once it is complete, that this means that they can start with that paneling. But I believe that may not come until the chopsticks are fully up and running the way they're supposed to be.
Yeah, the one thing we noticed the other day was that we had venting coming off of this pipe, as well as about 9 others. So we had 10 vents all in one day, all over the orbital fuel farm. There was also another vent that was up here that I noticed. I don't quite see where it was coming from. Maybe I can look around a little bit more. So either there was an open valve. I just don't see the rest of the stem there, but there was plenty of venting off of this one, and a little bit from this region in here. And that was an amazing number of things. And I think this is just right before booster 8 rolled out the next day. I'm sorry, 7. Wow, that would be a little premature. But yeah, they have gone through and installed, strainer baskets in here. So all the debris gets caught in these. So that's what this little cylinder on top of these pipes will be. I don't know what the inside of it looks like, if it's a mesh or what. Not familiar with how the strainers work, but it sounds like a strainer. So I think of the same kind you'd have for your pastas and everything else.
Yeah, it's basically a one-way system, and I believe it has a screen, like a plate with holes in it. Essentially, it's not quite like that. Oh, sorry, it's a basket. So it drops down into the basket, and the imagine when you're cooking spaghetti or something like that, then you have your strainer, if you put that inside of another bowl and you poured water below it, it would come up through the strainer. So that's basically what's happening with this, in a roundabout way of explaining it. It stops. It basically comes in through the side, goes down through the bottom, and comes back up through the top. So it passes through that screen on the way. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Strainer in there. So,
Yep.
Nice. I love the telestration. That's just me. I've tried to look up strainers, and all I got was the same kind you get for your sink. And I'm looking for Krause strainers, so that didn't work. All right. So let's see. We've got another 20 minutes here. Want to go through stage 0 as stage 0 Zach?
Yeah, we might as well
Look
go
at
through the
you,
rest of the
Thomas.
ground images that you were going to show as well too. But yeah, I mean, I guess there are some things that have changed on this now that I think about it. They've started wrapping a lot of the wires on that panel right there to the left. There's that red, I forget what it's called. Basically, it's just thermal protection for the wires. But they had this on the chopsticks as well too for a while, which was really weird. They covered up all of the wiring on the chopsticks and then took that back off the next day. So it seems like they're just basically adding additional like thermal protection for all these systems, which is good. As we get closer and closer to that first static fire and launch, it's definitely important to do that kind of stuff.
GB, are those 3 things right there? Are those fire flame retardant things? What were they called?
The spark arresters were on the backside, and
Yeah.
they were also removed. They may be on the inside of the table now, but yeah, that's on the backside.
Those aren't them though.
No,
Okay.
they're removed.
Yeah, I remember them being removed. I thought maybe they put in a new set or something more technology forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way to know whether or not they're still there, but from our assumption, they're on the inside of the table now.
Makes sense.
I've also noticed that they put on quite a bit of, it looks like speed tape or something else on top of these panels. I think it's maybe a thermal issue as well, but I don't know why speed tape. Maybe it's some other type of reflective tape. Maybe even the same stuff you get for your furnace. Who knows? Looks pretty
And
interesting.
it's called speed tape?
Well, there's ones that are for aerospace and planes that is speed tape. It looks like this could be what they use. So if you have like a engine housing or covering, you will put it around the gap, so it helps reduce the amount of turbulence that you're creating of your engine housing and where the bolts are at, things like that. As I mentioned earlier, I sit around talking with aerospace folks all the time.
And me.
Yes, and you. We all do. It's great stuff. Let me go back to just a overview of the entire site, just so we have a nice look at it and see if there's anything that's like, oh, that's super obvious. I actually did notice something. The cones are up, the police are there, and as we talked about before, Jessica Stream.
Dave mentioned.
Yes, and the link will be available again here shortly for Jessica Stream, though we recommend you watching after we're done here. That they will be doing some sort of testing, maybe an igniter test. I don't know. We were watching for an igniter test on the launch table the other day. We didn't see it. Nothing happened. They just came back and looked at it and inspected it like, wonder why that didn't work.
And to be fair, nothing happened that we could see. Something
True.
could have happened. We don't know. And by the way, Jessica has a 24-hour stream too. I don't know if you gents saw it yet. It's pretty cool.
I do, and I have that tab bookmarked on my browser, so every time I want to check out some more views, I have an available stream. So I love those. So Jessica Stream, Lab Padre streams are the best. So yes, really quick. I was expecting to see flames coming out. Just a quick flame, nothing more than what you would have for, let's say, 33 grills closed, and then you open them and hit the igniter with a nice big flame coming up. That would basically be what they would have for at least Booster 4's igniter test. We didn't see that here. So I suspect that they had some electrical issues. They went back to the table shortly after when they came back from the testing, and they were checking out basically this area in here. So I don't know what was going on. Maybe it was in this area too, but it was mostly just this area. So we do actually have Mauricio back. Welcome back, Mauricio. Safe trip home, I take it?
Oh yeah, I just got home and I'm editing the rest of the images here and just wrapping it up so that we can upload these for the Patreon members and the YouTube members.
Thank you so much for that. That's going to be amazing to see all of those, because we've only have the snapshots that you've given us here. It's the taste, so to speak, of what's going on here today from the flyover. So we can talk a little bit more about what's on site here. I'm pretty familiar with the can crusher. I was the one who named it. So they've actually gone through and wrapped the top tank that typically on the original test was a water tank. Now it's wrapped up for thermal protection. So it's most likely going to be used in a cryo test for the 7.1 test article on the can crusher. So we've got the top hat, and then we've got the individual lines running down. And I went through and actually just calculated those the other day, that they are about, I think I put it total is 26.2 tons for all of the polypropylene cable that they have. So it runs up and then it runs back down, and it's about 84 feet-ish of it at, I think I counted, was it 12 centimeters? So went through and did all the calculations to find that out. But basically, they're going to do it's a structural test, and they're going to do a test where they pull down onto the top hat, which pulls directly onto the tank itself. And the tank will, in this case, it looks like they're going to do cryo. And that will allow them to do a stress test to pretend that the thing is a booster. It's got the booster bottom and the booster top for the most part. And they will be able to say, will this function as we expect it to? So the top tank itself, they will be using it as, I can't remember the word. I posted it the other day just so I could remember it. Now I can't. But basically it allows you to fill up your LOX directly into nitrogen into the tank, and then have nitrogen in this tank as well. So there isn't any gas in here. And then any boil off you do get in here will go into this tank. And then that will allow you to basically have an uncompressible fluid. So you'll pull down, each one of these is the equivalent of a Raptor as far as the amount of force that it's able to apply. So it pulls down with about 230 metric tons of thrust, or not thrust in this case, but pull to simulate that thrust. And so it is a really useful article. This is a basically 7.1 is a kind of a verification of what Booster 7 has. They need this test, I believe, before they can get the launch license, like the license plate of your car, not the driver's license, which would be the whole site. So that's just a quick analogy there. But anyways, this is a critical test that needs to happen, and we're going to see that pretty soon as well. I think this will happen after we see a static fire of the booster. I think they're
Why
really
after?
pushing for that. Just because it's going to take a little bit more time to get this done. But if the booster's not going to be ready to static fire come, let's say, like Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, that's the days that they have a scheduled
Yes.
static fire, essentially. So that's coming up really quick. We don't know how many engines they will go for. Elon had originally said that they will do one at a time, but it wasn't really clear if they were saying one engine at a time or one ring at a time. We will find out soon on that one come Monday. But for now, the last 10 minutes, do we want to go through and get some questions in? If you have questions, type !question, and we should be able to answer
There's
those
lots
for
of
you.
questions, actually.
Let's go for them.
All right. And so we'll start from here. So Cranky Old Man asks, Um, will the cargo section be depressurized during Starlink dispensing?
Yes, it will have to be. So, on the wrong one. This will open up and it will be opened up to space. The one thing that we know is from Elon, he says that the cargo section will be slightly pressurized. So it won't be like 1 atmosphere at sea level or anything like that. It will be less than that, but it helps give the entire body rigid structure. So you don't have to have as many stringers and other things in place to basically keep the structure. So it's like a soda can. In this case, it would be a can full of air, but it would be harder to compress and harder to break than it would otherwise. So once you open it up, it's basically like a soda can that's been opened. But once they deploy the Starlinks, they will close this again and repressurize. So they don't need to pressurize too much. And that's basically what we see right here is that seal. It helps keep all that atmosphere in. It does probably have a bit of a leak, but it shouldn't be too bad. It should be just enough to keep that pressurized as much as you need to. Was there
Fair.
another part of the question that we didn't answer?
No, I think that was good on that question. I got another one for you guys. This one might be a GB one because I know he was going through this in the video. Rambo asks, when SpaceX starts the next phase of the factory, which tent do you think they will start disassembling first?
Well, glad you asked. I'll talk about. Let's circle around to that at the end of the episode. But I will answer that question.
You mean in 5
In
minutes?
8, yeah. Before I answer that question, I first want to, now that Mauricio's here, ask where he. I guess people in the audience were wondering where we are at in the process of getting that new camera, like how close we are. So I don't know if you maybe had an update that you were able to share with them.
I haven't actually run up the numbers yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and just guess that it's anywhere between 50 and 60%. The camera itself, it's does anybody have the I think it might be about 3,000. The camera,
Yeah,
it's a
you got it.
A7 IV plus
You
taxes
said it was
and
the A7R and it was $3,000. It was like on sale for 2,999 when we looked at it last.
yeah, and it's a by far the I guess the best upgrade camera, 61 megapixels. Not sure how much it'll come out with taxes or with the I do want to get the insurance because man, this time around what happened we had not only did I have issues of it shutting off, it actually caused issues with focusing, and so some of the shots came out of focus. And I mean, it wasn't me. I know how to focus the lens, so it's not me. But we're getting there, and I think we'll have it in the next few weeks. I'm gonna have to wait for the funds to hit the YouTube revenue, or if you want to send a donation directly, you can send it to my PayPal address, which I posted there. PayPal.me/RGV aerial photography. Just make sure you use that particular link. Don't search up RGV aerial. Apparently, there's somebody else that has a similar tag for PayPal. So just use a particular link that I pinned there. And aside from that, I just want to thank everybody. We're almost done, right? So I guess I can say what I need
Yes,
to say.
sir.
I want to thank
Please do.
everybody that donated, all the YouTube members, Patreon members, and for the donations towards the camera fund. Not only that, I mean, some of the funds go towards the flyover itself, so that's going to help out a lot. And also I live about an hour and a half away from Starbase, so each day that I go out there, it's about 3 hour round trip, and it's pretty hot out there. So I have I want to thank also the local photographers out there, Jessica Kirsch. We got Starship Gazer, we got Chief from What About It, and all the other photographers that I might have missed. I have a high appreciation for what they do out there. They're out there all day, in the sun, the heat. I'm out there for about an hour, about from 1 hour to 2 hours every time I go, and it's not pleasant to be out there, to be honest. But aside from that, yeah, it's But other than that, I'll pass this along to Indian Star. Not sure if you want to say something here.
Just thank you guys. We hope to see you next week. Hope you guys like this week. And Mauricio, keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate you tremendously, my friend. Jessica, Felix, Will, thank you three so much. All of you in the chat, you guys are the best. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate you greatly.
We do still have the 5 minutes remaining. Do we want to answer that
Yeah, I was
question
gonna
that was
say
Yeah,
tabled?
it's going to go over to, yeah, for sure.
Good.
Please.
So if you guys haven't checked it out, I'm about to post it in the chat as soon as we, right at the very end of the stream. But yeah, so the question about the Star Factory and the most likely way to convert that over, I did a pretty long explanation of that. So there's a lot there's a lot in that episode. I do spend I wish I could put them out every week, but it does take me about 2 weeks, and I work on them every single day. So yeah, I've been saving up stuff for pretty much the last year. So hopefully you guys enjoy those. And I also pay, even if I'm not talking in the chat, I'm usually in almost every chat all the time, because what I like to do is pay attention to the things that that you guys have questions about. And so a lot of the stuff that I cover most of my episodes are questions that I see most often in the chat. So yeah, with that being said, I will post that link for you guys, like I said, at the very end. Make sure if you guys haven't subscribed to that, please do. Just starting out, so every little bit helps. And if you guys haven't hit the like button on this stream yet, please make sure you do that as well.
Okay, so were you going to answer the question, or was that the answer itself?
It's a super long answer.
Okay. Would you like me to give the Spark Notes version?
Go ahead.
Okay. So obviously they're building the Star Factory at this end. I do have a couple of graphics from SpaceX that will describe and show how it looks. So we can go over that real quick. So this is the end that we are currently working on right here. This is at Florida, so at Roberts Road. But basically what it will be is one building like this. It continues all the way to here. It goes up, and this will be the side for the nose cones. And so this is the front side of the building. They have this nice glass window. It looks great. So what they will do is they'll probably go through, take tent 1, move all of the stuff in tent 1 over to the new Star Factory, and then they will start building from this side inwards. They will then take away actually tent 3, which is the nose cone tent, once this side is done. So they'll basically be moving the infrastructure from here to here, and then from here to there. So it'll look like this, if that makes any sense. And then what's in here will pretty much just kind of shift over to here. I think that's basically the gist of how they will do the operations in order to make this amazing Star Factory that's basically a duplicate on Florida side and here. The question that always comes up is this wall right here. This wall, I believe, will have some sort of perforations or something like that, where they will have to redo the structure for some of these columns that are down here. That's going to be costly, but they'll make it happen somehow, because there has to be some way of being able to move the rings in and out of the different sections of the buildings, unless they only have one door, which would be kind of strange for this entire building. But that's the Spark Notes. And with that, I think we're out of time. So you want to make sure you post that link, or have you already posted it, GB?
Yeah, I'm about to post it right here.
Perfect.
There we go.
Now you have a full in-depth view of from Golden Boy on what they're doing on Star Factory. So we'd like to all say our goodbyes, or any other last messages before we head off here?
I think it's just your goodbye, my friend.
Oh, well, what about Golden Boy? You got a goodbye?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to, again, thank everybody who donated today, and everybody who hit the like button on the stream, and all of you for just being here in general every single week. It's really awesome having this crowd that always is with us every single Saturday. So, yeah, I want to thank you guys again. I really appreciate all of you. And that's all for me.
And Grandpa Joe had to leave earlier, so I'll say goodbye from him. His lines would be basically going something like, Miko, stage separation confirmed. Love you, bye.